Yeah, you would be great in a new Beetlejuice.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Podtoid. I'm your old host, Chickenscratch O'Hoolihan, here on the farm. As always, I'm joined by my familiar ranch hand, Conrad Zimmerman.
Howdy.
And I'm also joined by the man who milks the pigs,
What?
Jonathan Holmes, otherwise known as Mr. Handy Pants. How are you, son?
I'm all right. Milking pigs for their milk?
Darn tootin' ya, boy. Now, Mr. Handy Pants, I got a bit of a problem I gotta bring up with ya. Seems to me there's a slight problem on the old farm with parasites. And we're gonna have to do something about it, aren't we?
Do some what? Plow it? Do something about it. Yes, let's do something about it.
We're gonna do something about those parasites. Now, I've already pulled the worms out of the horses, and I think you know what kind of worms I'm talking about. I'm talking about ass parasites, son. And I gotta check everybody on the farm, be they animal or you. Especially you.
For ass parasites?
I gotta check you for the ass parasites. Tapeworms, shingle biscuits, brown crawlers, all sorts of ass parasites that are posing terrible problems in the agricultural industry in the old South, boy.
That's not true. That's not true. Any of it. You're just making up new problems. Like, what do you call them? Brown wigglers or something?
Brown crawlers!
I'm sorry. Yes.
They've not. We've not yet got a problem with the regular subspecies, but you never know what might turn up on Bal Boo Boo's farm.
Is that where it is?
Yes,
Well, Boo Boos. Yes.
for the
Reputable
for the
farm for pig
purposes
milking.
of this
No,
conversation,
you can't let these things go on, you see, because if you do, then eventually it spreads to the whole herd, and then you're screwed.
that's
So it's really
absolutely.
important that we perform these kinds of regular inspections of the various personnel.
Conrad is absolutely correct. Jonathan Holmes, and I know you in particular like to French kiss the mules.
No.
And the mules is where the brown crawlers started. So what I need you to do is just take down your breeches there, just pull down your overalls, and get your long johns, the flap of the back of that one open, and what I'm gonna do is put on an elbow-length glove and grease it up all nice and shiny, and stick that up your posterior.
My butt.
It goes right up the butt, yeah.
You don't want to. You don't want to do that. You don't.
I don't want to do that, no. It brings me no joy, but the future of the farm is at stake, and needs must when the devil makes work for idle hands.
Wouldn't it be better for me to just go to a doctor or quit this job that I probably don't want to? What is milking a pig even like? What's that feel like? Milking their nipples and making what? And they're squeaking and squealing, I'm sure, the whole time. And who drinks pig milk? None of this seems
The,
like it's. Mm,
the
yep.
screeching is deafening, boy.
Yeah, I bet it is. Me just pinching pig nipples while they're going. "Nyeh,
Yeah,
nyeh." No, somebody will drink
it's
this later.
it's
No.
not it's not nipples you're squeezing.
Oh, what is
It's
it?
it's man pig milk.
No, yep. There, there is not a consumer base for pig semen milk drink.
Not a consumer base, no. It is
No.
it is it's stored in my own private reserves.
So I just work for a guy.
Yeah,
Like, you know what I would like?
yeah.
I would pay a man to masturbate pigs.
The farm makes the bulk of its money by me going down the old war memorial and drawing caricatures of tourists. That allows me to save up enough money to buy more pigs for you to splack off so I can have them milky cheers. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Podtoid. That was a visit from a friend of mine, Chickenscratch O'Hoolihan, who owns a farm that Jonathan works on. How are you doing today, Jonathan?
I'm not too bad. I'm good. Yeah, I feel good. How about you guys?
I'm good. I'm fine. Conrad, how are you?
I'm quite well. It's been a fun, interesting week.
Fucking
I've enjoyed
marvellous.
life.
Absolutely fucking splendid. Okay. Same time next week, lads?
Yeah, sounds good.
Hey.
Oh, come on. People have been... This is a day late, this episode.
It is a day late. There's a good reason.
There is. This PlayStation reason.
There's a jolly, bolly, bloody, rutty, flutty good reason for that. And that is because the Xbox 720 got announced.
Do you think there's any chance they'll call it that? That would be so funny.
Not in hell.
No way.
That would be so funny, though, if they did that.
Yeah. They're going to call it the Xbox. Great.
Xbox Core, something like that.
What's the front runner? Xbox Infinity or something?
Whoa, no, really?
What will they be able to do next time? Nothing.
Yeah, you've just...
Yeah.
Infinite amount of Xbox has already been supplied to the consumer, so...
If you listen to people on Xbox Live, an infinite amount of monkeys playing on them. Good night, ladies and gentlemen. Good night.
That was a good one.
That was a good one. That's part of my all-singing cabaret that I do at the restaurants of Mississippi, which recently repealed slavery.
Yes, really? I saw that.
Just this week, the state in which I take up residence.
They are so progressive there.
Yeah.
Well, that's
fucking me lost money, though.
I think I saw it on Daily Show that they did a bit on that, and they had tried to ratify the 13th Amendment before. So this isn't, this was something that they had tried to do this back in 1995.
Yeah.
But they had the paperwork wrong.
Yeah.
And then forgot about it, for another,
Plus,
nearly 20 years.
Plus, of course, Britpop was at the height of its fame back then. Blur.
Right, yeah. There was a lot going on. It's very easy to have lost track of, saying slavery is a bad thing and we shouldn't do it.
Jurassic Park had just come out on VHS. All sorts of things. But no, they repealed slavery, of course, to celebrate the announcement of the PlayStation 4, which followed straight after. Kazurai came out and said, slavery is repealed in Mississippi. I hand you over to Andrew House. And then we had the PS4 press conference.
Were you guys surprised at all that it was called the PS4 and not like the Orbits or something?
I was half expecting a swerve. I'm not surprised they went with the PS4, but I definitely... Because I had the post already written for Destructoid, because it was obvious. So it was kind of cooked and ready for me to just throw up a header image once Alistair or Brett took one, and then I could just set it live. But I was hovering over the headline of PlayStation 4, just ready to quickly delete it and write something else.
Yeah, I don't think I would not have been surprised if they went a different route, but PS4 is pretty much what I expected.
Yeah, it makes sense. But yeah, what do we think of it?
Well, the fact that we even thought that they might call it something other than PS4 implies that we're like, well, do they really want to consider this the follow-up to the PS3, or do they want to try to do something totally new? Because the PS3, although it's far from a failure, it wasn't. It didn't match the PS2. It had the sophomore kind of.
It didn't dominate the console generation the way they had for 2 generations, basically.
Yeah, because they actually had competition this generation.
Right, and it worked out for the competition largely.
Yeah.
So that left me coming into this thinking, well, they're going to have to come at this from a totally different angle. They're going to have to say PlayStation 3, success. However, Now we're going to give you so many reasons if you passed on the PS3 that you need to get a PS4, and I didn't see any of those reasons at all.
It was very much I
I think those reasons are in the subtext.
it was a preemptive thing. It was just they wanted that out there before, I guess, before Microsoft had theirs out there. Everything about it seems very quick. Like, I was not expecting the holiday 2013.
I was expecting
Yeah?
holiday 2013. Yeah, I figured the consoles would be announced this year and come. I didn't think this was going to be another one of those instances where they'd announce and then wait a whole year to build up anticipation. It just didn't seem, with the Wii U already out, and giving them an opportunity and giving Nintendo an opportunity to have a 2-year head start. No way.
Yeah.
Absolutely no way. So but I do agree that it does seem like they're rushing a little bit to get to market.
I mean, that's like, I don't know. For something at 2013, I would have expected, last E3 to have, for them to have come out and shown it. But obviously that didn't happen. So it does strike me as well, holy shit, suddenly PS4, it's out 2013, pre-orders are up, we don't even know what the fucker looks like yet. It just seems like they very, just squirted it up quickly. And the reason why I bring that up is just because of what's happened in the industry in the past when that's happened hasn't gone well.
Sure.
The future, of course, is not the past, so, it could turn out very differently. But I do worry a bit when something is just suddenly here. But then again, I guess it works for Apple. Don't they do this shit like, oh, here's a new iPhone, and it is also in a shop now, please?
Oh, sure. They do it
Yeah.
all the time. And people have known. I mean, the announcement of the PS4 is new, but the idea of the PS4 has been, 2 years now. People have been saying, oh, any second now, they'll
Right,
announce it.
and this isn't like the E3 Saturn announcement or anything, They didn't say, hey, it's out today. I think
Right.
there's enough lead time here that we'll be able to get a sense. And the other thing, too, is that this isn't as ambitious a console. I mean, it's a powerful console, but the x86 architecture stuff it's a very smart move. It's the right thing to do, but it's easier to do than
Oh, sure, yeah.
what they did with the PS3. So I think we're in kind of a different situation there as well, to where it's not so unbelievable that they say, hey, we're working on this, and then it comes to shelves within the same year.
Well, tell me as a dummy, and you too, Jim, if you don't mind. What's this computer
Bono's
stuff?
not here.
I don't know much about the powers and the specs.
Well,
and the hard drives and whatever.
as the frontman of Yoto, oh, let me just tell you that the PC is really good for... This isn't even an Irish accent.
No.
It kind of
No, it's
was.
not.
It's even the bad Bono impression I did at Thanksgiving. It's something else.
No, I think it had its charms.
Ah, potatoes.
Is it is it that much more powerful, the PS4? How much more powerful is it than the threes? Is it like 2 PS3s together? Or is it like a whole nother one?
Looking
like,
at a decent end PC that they've got.
Yeah.
It's good. It's a good PC.
Is that like, let's say you've got a PS3 and you're like, these graphics are good graphics, but I want graphics, not these graphics. Then do you want a PS4 for the graphics?
Well, I mean, here's the thing, because I did an article on Destructoid today about this.
You did.
Like, the PS4's not going to get its legroom from pimping big graphics. Not the same way the PS3 tried. And considering it didn't really work for the PS3, that's probably not a bad thing. I don't think the mass market cares that much about graphics. Otherwise, the Wii would not have been the dominator of the last generation.
And the PS2 behind it.
And exactly, the PS2. They care more about library, which, of course, making the system more easier to develop for should help that, and might be the edge Sony needs. It's more powerful than the PS3, clearly. Things look better. But as someone who just came off playing Crysis at full spec on the PC for review purposes, it's hard to be that blown away. And I don't say that disparagingly. I'm not insulting the thing. In fact, I was quite glad when I saw Killzone Shadowfall being played that it didn't look like unrealistically amazing, because it looked real, it looked believable, and if that's what it's pushing, fair enough. I'm happy with that. It looks believable. It wasn't like the Killzone 2 E3 2005 demo, which looks better than what they showed last night for Killzone Shadowfall, because it's basically a CGI fucking movie.
I went to E3 that year just for kicks, and went through the demo thing and stood there staring pretty much in disbelief that this was actually what it was going to be, and wound up not being that.
Yeah.
It's just these sorts of previews, these first push things, the grain of salt that you have to consume is probably unhealthy.
Yeah. But that's what I liked about that conference, was the fact that
They didn't
believe
push
that.
any super boundary stuff. It just looked good.
Yeah. The only things I didn't quite believe that I worry might be gearboxing us a bit is I'm dropping that casually.
Whoa!
I'm just dropping it casually into conversations now. I'm not going to stand up and say this is a thing. I use it enough times, it'll be a thing. The only thing I felt was doing that to any potential degree is maybe that, was it called Deeper Down, Down Deep, Dig?
Oh, the Capcom thing.
Yeah. I'm blue, dubba dee dubba doo, that one.
With the very, I shudder to try and remember how to spell the name of the engine and can't even pronounce it. But there's an R and a P in there.
The Pantaray.
There it is.
Yeah. The Pantaray engine, I mean, it might look like that. I'll keep an open mind. I'd like it to be looking like that, but looking at those particle effects and stuff that was showing when the dragon's breathing fire, it looked too much for what the PS4, Force of Habit, what the PS4's looking to be pushing. So that might be an issue. And Capcom, yes, they're not.
I'm not nothing against Capcom, but they visually are not envelope pushers.
Yeah,
Not these days. No.
No.
They once were.
they're not envelope pushers, and they're not truthful ever.
I was gonna let you say that.
Yeah.
That's good. You could say that.
They're well known for pulling a gearbox, the hot new term that everybody's talking about. The other thing, I was just going to say some of the other stuff that I was a bit dodgy on. Quantic Dream, David Cage came out.
But that's
obviously didn't believe a word he said. That just you can't. And he brought out that ugly old man head that came out and just kind of squinted at us and looked a bit sad. And that, the thing about that is it looked exactly like the Alfred Molina head demo from the PS3 conference.
It did.
They brought, it was the same fucking thing. It was Alfred Molina's head in a black background, and they waved it around a bit, did a close-up on his eyes and said, look at the reflections, look how realistic it is, and we didn't quite get that. Not even LA Noire with its, famous facial capture tech, which looks great, did that, the Alfred Molina thing. So Cage coming out and showing me that head apropos of nothing else and just saying the word emotion over and over again did nothing for me.
Were there any emotions other than I am dead?
Polygon is now an emotion. I think that's what we've learned from David Cage, is polygons is emotion. So there you go. And what was the other thing? Square Enix's demo from E3 last year. Well done.
What was that? Something annis? Lanimous-ness?
Bullshit. Bullshit. Yep. That's how I pronounce it. To be fair to them, they didn't have time to make a new demo because of all the fucking time and energy that went into making Final Fantasy all the fucking bravest.
Oh, I forgot that existed.
Yeah. We all try. We all try to. I think if any demo will be looked at as the potential Killzone 2005 demo for this conference, if, it would be that Square Enix one. And again, it might not be. Maybe their engine can do all that. I don't really give a shit if it can, if they're still gonna have chimpanzees write the scripts for their games.
Oh, come on. There was that one, wasn't there? Trying to be nice.
Years ago, when games didn't look as good, but somehow were written better.
Yeah, it's true.
Fucking fuck. That's my emotion.
And Watch Dogs. It's kind of got Watch Dogs, right?
Watch Dogs. Ironically, and possibly proving my point, the least graphically intensive, least graphically impressive demo they had, most interesting looking game.
Weird that they announced it for the Wii U in the same night, too. I thought that was actually kind of mean to PS4.
Oh, it's Ubisoft. They clearly do not give two fucks anymore.
It's kind of mean, because a lot of people just immediately said, oh, I'll just get it for the Wii U. They already have it.
I don't know. It's to be... Guillermo is on his knees, constantly, with every executive's cock in his hand, and he's just skiing with them. He loves it. He loves it. He gets the jizzle down his tie. It's his favourite thing. Can't get enough of it.
It's his favorite thing.
It's his favourite thing. What I'm saying there is that Ubisoft will do anything to anyone. And God bless them for it.
Well, they're making some good video games.
They honestly have some good profit.
Yeah, and then hanging on to them for 6 months so that they can put them out on all 3 platforms.
Well,
later.
that wasn't so good to be so transparent.
And
about
I think that's the right move for the game. I mean, I'm not thrilled about the fact that I'm going to have to wait half a year to play a game that I want to play, but ultimately it's the right decision for the franchise. And
just a wrong way of presenting it to the public. Man, they could have done that better. But back to PS4s. What's it do? It's got sharing, and it's got self-publishing. And
now the thing I thought,
the
thing I thought was really smart, because this is my constant complaint about the PlayStation 3 and consoles in general. Because when I used to PC game all the time. And I quit PC gaming because I started to find that, the individual barriers to PC gaming, the things that I didn't like about PC gaming didn't exist on consoles. Less multiplayer focus. I'm just not really all that into that stuff. I never had to enter in a product code for anything because I owned the fucking disc. It was obvious. That sort of stuff. Which is why I went to consoles. And now consoles have all of that. And what I thought was really interesting was the amount of emphasis that they were putting on the idea that the moment you want to play a game, you will now be able to do that, as if that's innovation.
It is
because from the PS3, because in this console generation we've created a climate where that's no longer possible. Mm-hmm. And they're saying we're going to innovate that back into reality. God, I hope it works. Because
it seems like a lot of stuff with consoles these days is just like, what's normal for everyone who owns a PC? Now you have normal. Like, thanks. I guess it's progress, but it is a weird kind of sideways progress. Yeah.
Well, and times have changed so considerably, in the time that I was console gaming. Now operating systems are better. Games aren't DOS-based as often. I very rarely have to play a DOS-based game. So product codes are less bothersome. I can cut and paste them. And Steam exists, which is just like, how could PC gaming be any easier?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So now I can go back to PC gaming because a lot of those barriers are removed and the variety of content is greater and usually more affordable.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
they got to figure out a way to make me want to keep playing on consoles, I think.
There was a lot of people saying, I just don't know about consoles anymore, guys. I'm hitting 30 soon. I still like video games, but this whole console thing's kind of, I'm hearing that more and more from people, more than I've ever heard it.
I don't think it helps. I don't think it helps that the console industry has just been shit lately. Not the games, but the business of them has been shit. Mm-hmm. We've got the bloated dev costs, meaning that publishers are terrified to put out anything new. I think it's very telling that this conference had the PS4 and so much old shit to show for it. Old franchises, games we already knew about, games coming to PS3 and PS4. Diablo 3 is one of their biggest announcements of the night, because they're afraid of new stuff. I mean, outside of knack, and maybe that dig deeper if it's a real thing, not really new stuff. So that's a turn off, whereas on PC at the moment you're getting all sorts of weird shit. The online passes and the $60 fixed price point, all that kind of shit. I mean, it's certainly turning me off. I see the console market right now as a mess. It's like a Rube Goldberg machine. It shouldn't work, and it just seems to be a miracle that it is, and you can already see the pieces kind of falling off it. It's problematic, and I don't blame anyone for wanting to go into PC gaming at the moment, especially if consoles are becoming more and more like PCs, but with extra bullshit that just makes you sit back and think, well, I could have all the benefits of this console on a machine with a lot less bullshit and a lot more variety.
It used to be that people played games on consoles if they didn't want to have to install and they didn't want to have to load or type or think. You just plug the cartridge into the thing, press start, up, I'm playing it.
Absolutely.
And then people who didn't want that, it was like, no, I want floppy disks and load comma 8, comma 1. Then they played on PC. But now the consoles are harder to play on than PC half the time. It's as long as if this whole thing with the Steam box and the sticking it up on the TVs, I could see that a computer is taking over the television.
Well, I mean, it shouldn't be something they don't take seriously. But I will say, I mean, that's where the PS4 does have my interest. Because if you can't advance the graphics as much as you'd like, they've got no choice but to innovate in the online space. That's where they've got real breathing room. And they clearly know it. The share button on that DualShock 4 seems silly. And I know some people have made a lot of fun of it. I think it's a wise thing. I like that it's there. I may never use it. I like that it's there.
I think you're going to use it. I think we all saw how much fun Miiverse was, but it's still, and as much of a leap as it was for Nintendo, it's still a little bit cumbersome to jump out of what you're playing, look around for a page, maybe draw a picture. It's great, but it would be nice to have the option to just press a button and then quickly type, this game sucks on Twitter, and then see that suddenly get retweeted 50 times.
Yeah.
That would be fun.
I think we're going to hear a lot of this. Words like social and connectivity and integration. And I know that sets alarm bells ringing in some ears, but it really is all they've really... I say really too much there. It is all they've kind of got to expand in. It's very much, at least on consoles, this uncharted territory that they can go into. So we're going to see a lot of it, and Sony has my interest. I like that they're showing a desire to be competent in it. Whether they are competent in it is another matter entirely. They talk about making the PS Vita this ultimate companion to the PS4, but they've proven they have a hard time of taking something that they've already released and making it work with something new. The PS3 and the PS Vita struggle to talk to each other. When they try to put trophies and other features into the XMB, it's this sluggish, awful system. I
remember downloading something from the PS3 to the PSP, and that took 3 hours, I think. Or like 4 hours.
Exactly.
So sad. Yeah.
So they're talking about having a system that's connected to these social networks and has this idea that you can, while you're playing a game, you can jump on and show a video or watch a video or talk to a guy and get him to take over your game for you. And it all sounds great in concept. I am incredibly interested in the concept. I am skeptical about the practice. Because Sony's demonstrated it's not quite got all its ducks in a row when it comes to trying to make things multi-purpose.
And it's interesting to me that this is the first PlayStation system, home system anyway, that isn't riding at all on some new media format. PlayStation 1 was like, CD-ROMs, actually good. And they're like, oh, the CD-ROMs are good. I used to actually use the PlayStation 1 as my CD player and like listen to CNC Music Factory on it and stuff. Like, this is great. And then, of course, PlayStation 2 rode off of the ascending popularity of DVDs. And if it weren't for DVDs being so popular, it's not certain that the PlayStation 2 would have done as well. PlayStation 3 at least tried to ride on Blu-ray, and that movie with that man's face in it. What is that man
Are we
face?
talking about Talladega Nights?
Yeah, that's it. I can just think of that fleshy-faced man looking at me. Fine man. And they tried to write on that, and it worked a little. It didn't work as well as it
I
did
think
on
it helped
PlayStation.
them.
It did.
I think
Definitely
it
did. I know a lot of people that I bought my PlayStation 3 for the Blu-ray player, and I also played a game on it. So that sold movies and consoles for them. This, no, unless I missed something, this is the first PlayStation that's just kind of like, hope you like video games and streaming video.
It's too soon to try and push a new media format
Yeah.
for anything.
Yeah.
I mean, Blu-ray wasn't necessary on the PS3, I don't think, for a good quantity of its library. And probably contributed to neglect, poorly designed code, bloated code, things like that, for those that didn't require the space, because it just gives you the freedom to not optimize. But and then you're running on a 1-speed drive, which causes all. I mean, there's a lot of reasons why Blu-ray wasn't necessarily the best choice for video games at that time. But in terms of getting a new entertainment format into living rooms as a Trojan horse maneuver, that's something that worked very, very well for Sony in terms of DVD. And Blu-ray definitely had that potential. It is a very large jump in terms of quality for that purpose. And so I think that sort of helped justify it, even though, Christ's sake, I mean, my father likes to comment that every time a new type of audio format comes out, he has to buy the Righteous Brothers Greatest Hits again. And so he's got it on 8-track, 2-track, vinyl, CD,
I wouldn't have expected the Righteous Brothers of all the brothers he might have bought.
You never close your eyes anymore when I kiss your lips. Anyway,
Good.
But so that's the same sort of feeling I have here. Is that it seems so soon between times that I have to buy, my copy of, I don't know, Fight Club. I think I have Fight Club on multiple formats. Or Reservoir Dogs. I've got like 4 copies of Reservoir Dogs.
That could have been a VHS DVD.
I do have a VHS DVD and Blu-ray version.
It's pretty neat. Yeah.
So yeah, I would really, really be pissed off as a consumer if they tried to do another format so quickly. And since they have such a firm stake, as Sony having a firm stake in Blu-ray, it just makes sense to keep going.
Yeah, but it's weird that without that to stand on as at least part of their foundation for why buy this thing. Oh, movies. Well, that's not part of it this time. So they're just doing like a weird kind of Kinect thing with a blue light on their controller now, and a pad.
It's what PlayStation Move. It's just they took PlayStation Move and they said, okay, we stick the little ball thing, and now it's a little light bar on the controller. But that's
good.
It operates the color range the same way. I'm sure the technology is pretty much identical.
It never needed to be a ball on a stick to work. They just needed the light for it to recognize.
Right.
Now the controller does that. But I do think it's interesting that the consoles are almost reflecting the way the games have gone over the past 5 years. I would be surprised if Microsoft doesn't have Blu-ray in some form on its next system.
No, I think that's going to be the media standard.
Yeah, here. It's going to have Kinect, obviously, in the same way that the PS4 has Move. Maybe it'll have some touchy stuff. And at that point, you've got 3 consoles rocking the same kind of stuff. They're all, with the exception of the Wii U in this case, at least with Sony and Microsoft, they're all going to be pushing towards this kind of PC spec type thing to make things more easy to develop across the board and not, I guess, have better third-party support all the way. And we are kind of looking at the homogenization of consoles. In the same way,
Microsoft, don't worry. Microsoft will announce that the next Xbox has blast processing. So that's how they're going to differentiate themselves from the pack.
But it is interesting to see that, and I kind of, although I rail on the homogenization of games themselves, I'm not that against it for consoles. I used to, back when I gave much more of a shit about console gaming, not that I don't give a shit, but when I was a lot more invested in it, before PC Master Race, I was worried at this idea of a one console future, but now I'm like, bring it on.
Yeah. Well, I mean, one console future doesn't. I don't like that term, you know, but
Sure.
I do like the idea of homogenized platforms. Just because we are at a point now where originality seems to fail. And if you're drawing your resources away to produce something that's only going to be capable of running on this limited platform,
Yeah,
it's just not worth the investment anymore. And here, if we homogenize the consoles from one to the next, everyone is going to have a consistent experience. Everyone will be able to enjoy their
exactly. And
games.
Sony and Microsoft can still make their machines. You
Hmm.
know, they can still have their, personalized little features
And their
and
subscription services
yeah,
and their online marketplaces, there's all sorts of ways that they can carve out their own business model without having to compete on a technological basis
yeah.
for hardware.
And I think it would be a better industry overall if developers weren't worried about making ports and
Hmm.
things. If they could just make their fucking games.
I've always been puzzled for years. I've been saying this, and people have really gotten like angry at me for implying that and
You
insulting.
never said this.
What?
You've never said any of that.
I
I am
did.
the first person to have said it a few
Well,
minutes ago.
I could be wrong in understanding what you're saying, but what I've thought for years, and tell me if this is the same as what you're saying. And Nero and I have talked about it too, years and years ago, before we'd even
No,
met
that was me and
face to
Nero.
face.
That was me
Was
and me. Neither you nor Nero were there. At wherever it was.
I've just always thought it's harder to make money if you make a game that can only be played on one kind of toaster. Wouldn't it be nice if you could put your toast into any kind of toaster? And maybe it wouldn't look as good, but you'd at least have the option to, put the same disc into a PS3 or a 360 or a Wii U and play some version of it right there. That would sell so many more copies to so many more people and get more people playing video games, and everybody wins, I thought. And of course, if Nintendo wants to continue to do exclusives and blah blah blah, then they can. But having one operating system for all consoles, everyone can make their own hardware,
Yeah,
but still everyone can play every game, always, forever.
yeah. So, Jonathan,
Yeah,
when are we going to form a street gang?
like criminal gang, like
Uh,
gangsters.
Almost exactly like the Warriors from the film The Warriors.
Oh, they're a cool gang.
Yeah, I
I
was watching it
Yeah.
the other day,
What did
and
you
I
think?
thought Jonathan Holmes would love to be Cyrus and unite the criminal gangs of Boston.
I would like to be well spoken. I've always looked up to Cyrus. He's a charmer. It's
Hear me
nice.
out.
Yeah. Okay.
We are the Warriors.
Okay. Just you and me.
And Conrad as
Oh,
well.
good. I wasn't sure. Conrad, I'm glad you're gonna be there.
We are the Warriors, and we will, like them, theme ourselves on Native Americans. We will get a headband with a feather on it, and a plastic yellow Dayglow bow and arrow with suction cup arrows. We will go under a bridge and find homeless people, and then you stand on a box and shout, "Can you dig it?" at them.
Actually, I mean, I don't want to like change the narrative at all. So we'll see how this works out. But I was thinking nice business suits. We
For
could
these
be.
warriors?
Well, I mean, the Native Americans have changed a lot over the last several decades, and now with the casinos, and they've become quite refined, quite savvy. we're just giving all our money back to them. They really, those pox blankets are paying dividends for them. Let's just say, in terms of an investment, that was not a bad move.
Yeah. I
Not
like
as
what you're saying there. Like, I mean, we shouldn't just base our lives on the Warriors, Jonathan. I really respect that you would want to do that.
no.
But I think we could stand to be a bit more original. How's this for a gang name, Jonathan?
Yeah.
The Fluffy Pumpkins.
Oh yes, This is interesting.
Yeah, we wear orange track pants, right? We're shirtless. We've got a tattoo each of a big jack-o'-lantern on our chests, with fluffy pumpkins tattooed on our back, and we wear fluffy mittens. And we fight with fluffy sex handcuffs.
What?
Like how gangs fight with chains, and Road Rash, the game, has chains. We have chains as well, but they are fluffy handcuffs.
It's hard to even.
We swing them. We'll find a gang of homeless men, or even a street gang. We'll find a criminal gang, and you, Jonathan, just run at them, swinging these fluffy handcuffs over your head, shouting, "Can you dig it?" And then you hit one of them with it, while me and Conrad run, safe in the knowledge that you have taught them a lesson, and the fluffy pumpkins will rule Boston.
It's hard to even drive a car wearing fluffy mittens, let alone get around the city and fight a man or more than one man.
What are you talking about? They will protect your knuckles when we have a fight with a skateboard, a roller skating gang in a bathroom.
Oh, I forgot about that part.
Yeah.
Is that in the bathroom that they fight the roller skating gang?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a big bathroom, though.
But obviously our real plan. Now, hear me out on this, Jonathan. Our real goal with the Fluffy Pumpkins is to rule the criminal streets of Boston, and I want you to be the leader
Of the criminals?
You've got the face of crime.
I am a little weird looking.
You're the acceptable face of crime.
I can be acceptable. It's true.
Now, we're going to put out posters all over Boston and also on the West Coast and the East Coast with a photo of your face on it, Jonathan. That really sleepy looking one. That really sleepy looking picture of your face. Mm-hmm. With a speech bubble that says, "My name is Duncan and I like pop music." And it says at the top, "Attention, street gangs of America. Be ye Blood or be ye Crip, be ye Sons of Silence, or any of them other fucking lame-ass, amateur, stupid, gay, brackets not homophobic, but I know you don't like hearing that word, brackets, gangs. My name is Jonathan Holmes, otherwise known as Cyrus 2.0. I think you're shit, but
Just everyone who reads it?
But I am awesome. Come to my house for a tasty treat." And then we put your address, contact details,
Oh, boy.
full name, social security number on the poster. And we put them all up on the West Coast, on the East Coast, and over most of Boston. Just to call out the gangs, because
that sends a message.
Yeah,
that says we mean business.
If a Blood or a
Fuzzy
Crip,
pumpkins are not to be trifled with.
Fluffy, I think. Fluffy pumpkins.
Fluffy.
What?
Sorry,
But
Fluffy.
that's okay. What? It sends a message that I am an idiot. And that I will maybe hurt you, or am okay with just getting badly hurt.
No. It means you're fucking crazy. You're a madman.
Yeah.
There ain't nothing. You do not give a fuck. You will tear down any wall, anything that gets in your way of ruling all the gangs of Boston.
And all of that, what Conrad said, is printed on the back of the poster. So if they tear it down in anger, they might see it written on the back, read it, and think, well, now Jonathan knows his stuff. I'm going to go over there.
And why do I want them to come over?
Right, well, after you've told all of the well-established gangs on the east and west coast, in LA, in Boston, of course, I'll send supplies over to London. We can get some of the London gangs involved. Organised crime, why not? Bring them all in. You've called them all shit. You've said they're stupid. You said their mothers are idiots. Is what you've said.
It's a really bad idea.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, it's borderline misogynistic, but we're talking to gangs.
True.
We've got to interface with them on their level. Okay?
And really, I mean, the odds that their mothers didn't do such a great job,
Yeah.
pretty good. Just say it.
So you've railed on their idiot mums, and given them your address and said, come on down if you think you've got what it takes to fuck me.
No. No.
Not sexual fuck.
Oh.
Just fuck with you as a gang. It's gang talk. If you think you can bop me,
Bop? Like bop it?
jive on down, sucker, to my house for a tasty treat. Brackets sausages. Because we're gonna have sausages at just to give them something to eat. Because it's hungry. I mean, if you're coming on down from the various coasts of America, whether you are an inner city street gang or a biking gang, I'm hoping to get the Aryan Nation down as well.
Oh,
Some of the proper hardcore racist ones.
They're real trouble.
Well, the idea is you, as Cyrus 2.0, you're this like messiah-like figure to these guys. By this point, after they've seen the poster, you to them have this aura of mystery around you. Oh, I guarantee you, people will be like, "So what's the deal with this Cyrus 2.0?" And the other one will be like, "Magic."
I don't think so.
He got magic coming out of his cock, and you can have a look at it if you ask nice. And that'll also, I'll be telling people that I'll be going onto the news. Just I'll go on CNN and I'll just say Cyrus 2.0, as my leader in the Fluffy Pumpkins, has magic coming out of his cock. And if you want to have a look at his penis, just ask. He'll show it to you.
Religion's got to start somehow, I guess.
Dude, you tell anyone in the Road Rats that you've got magic coming out of your cock, they're going to jump on their trikes and buzz their way down.
Who are the Road Rats?
They're a street gang.
Is it like a local
bikers.
like? Is there like motorcycle bikers or like bicycle bikers?
Yeah, they're on unicycles.
That could happen. Road Rats. It sounds like sounds cute. Sounds like some little kids are doing.
We'll get the Eastwoods down from Croydon in Britain.
Oh, I don't know about them.
They set fire to a caravan next door to my house.
Oh, that's
when I
neat.
lived in Croydon. We'll get all them down. I think Brain, their elder figure, has been released from prison now. First-degree murder. Allegedly. It could have been any degree of murder. I don't want to get it wrong and be sued for libel. But anyway, we've brought all the gangs in. They, I assume, are incredibly interested in what you've got to say, Jonathan. They're crowded around outside your house, unified in their mutual desire to meet you. Because they're impressed. They're like, anybody who calls my mum an idiot and says I'm stupid and shit at being a gang member has to be pretty good. And that's when you throw open the windows to your apartment and look down at them all and say, I am Cyrus 2.0. We got the gang members next to the other gang members. We got the who's a what's its next to the brown crawlers.
That's the same anus diseases that the pigs had, I think.
Gang names are rarely pleasant.
They're named after fictional butt parasites.
Yeah.
Pig?
We've got the showdowns. rubbing shoulders with the fictional butt parasites.
That would be a street.
20,000 hardcore members.
What would the
Can
outfit
you
for,
dig it?
what would the themed costumes or outfits for the fictional butt parasites gang be?
Can you dig it?
Would they be like dressed like giant insects or something with like flapping plastic antennae?
Can you dig it?
That would look funny.
Can you dig it?
I can dig it. I can.
Can you dig it? Alright, so this is... I'm still doing your speech, Jonathan. This is...
I did
Yeah.
interrupt.
Can you dig it? You're just doing this over and over. And then eventually you go... Yeah.
No! I hate that song.
Then Usher's Yeah comes on.
It's a bad song.
Me and Conrad come out as your like royal lieutenants, as your gang lieutenants. Fucking hell, man. Conrad's got a red cushion with a mesh tank top on it. He like kneels to you just to show your power to the gang members. Kneels to you. You take the mesh tank top, you raise it up and say, "Mesh tank top!" And you put that on. And then I give you like a bag of Cheetos and you go, "Make it red! Oh yeah!" And then you like shake that over the gang members, who are by this point fucking thrilled. They're eating free Cheetos, and you're gonna get like one members of the LA Kings who's gonna turn around, he's gonna talk to a skinhead and say, "We haven't even had the sausages yet."
They're not going to be getting along at all. There's going to be guys dressed like giant bugs, and then like legitimate.
Are you kidding me? You have brought them together under a common, unified, perspective. They're all together seeing the same thing.
That's a perspective.
Experiencing the same thing together. And that's going to bring them together. They're going to be like, you know what? This Lily Constantina, or this Freaky Constantina shit is, it's happening.
Yeah.
I thought it was Cyrus 2.0.
At this point, they've forgotten your Cyrus 2.0 because me and Conrad are very loudly shouting, "It's Freaky Constantina! Look at him! That's his name! That's his name forever!" That's what we're shouting. But you have unified the gangs of America under a cheesy orange rain, Jonathan. And as I said, you're going to have to cut them up, motherfuckers. That's probably a gang name. He's going to turn round and he's just going to say, they're all going to be saying it, "We haven't had the sausages yet. We're getting Cheetos and a floor show right now, and I don't even have any fucking sausages yet. This is incredible."
Oh, so they're not disappointed. They're saying
No, they're saying they've still got the sausages to look forward to.
So it's like so good already, and there's not even sausages yet.
Yeah. I mean, at one point, one member of the KKK is going to take his hood off and just say, "Well, I might not be the only one here thinking this, but if I have the sausages right now, I'm going to fucking explode."
So the KKK is a street gang, and they're with the Crips and the Bloods.
Yes.
Just in full costume. They're all getting along great.
Well, the KKK is really changing their image these days. It's less about hating other races and more about promoting white pride. I don't know if they've actually been releasing a lot of advertisements and so forth.
I saw those on TV.
Yeah.
It's just helpful white pride.
Right.
We got Coney's boys there.
Oh, that's a street gang?
Yeah, the real...
Coney 2012?
Yeah, the real IRA. They've turned up. It's a shindig. You've got... I don't see why this is a problem.
It's really funny to witness an evil guerrilla army, an African guerrilla army, and the KKK, and the Crips and the Bloods, and like the Hells Angels, and just all in a room, smiling and eating Cheetos.
It's all right.
It's great. If you can do it, I would be impressed.
One member of Los Muertes just going to turn around and say, "Don't worry, everybody. There's enough Cheetos for everyone." And he pulls out his own special bag and throws that up in the air. The crowd goes wild!
I'm picturing also like the Heaven's Gate cult being there.
Oh, they're going to be there, definitely. I want them there. Even if they're dead. Just bring them out in wheelbarrows. If you could be defined as a street gang by me, I want you there. That extends to stray cats and spiders. So anyway, they're all outside your house, catching Cheetos on the end of their tongue like snowflakes, and one of them actually turns around and says, "This is like snowflakes," and another one says, "Yes." You tell them, "We're gonna get sausages in a minute, can you dig it?" And they're all saying, "I almost don't want to dig it, Cyrus 2.0 / Freaky Constantina. This is too good already. I've led a sinful life. You are spoiling the shit out of me." And this is when you say, "Right, okay, I've brought you here under a bit of an ulterior motive. It's not just to give you Cheetos and later sausage. We should all join up together as an army. No one will be able to take us on. Nothing will move through the streets of Boston without our say-so. Not the police, not the mafia, unless they're here today. We will be fine." And then obviously they're going to say, "Well, how are we going to organise ourselves? How are we going to do this?" And you say, "Right, follow me." You get out of the apartment, followed by me and Conrad. You lead them through the streets. I mean, this is going to be an impressive sight. This is going to be like the Macy's parade, but with switchblades. Take them through the streets of Boston. The mayor looks out of his window, Mayor Hasselhoff. He's peeking through the blinds, scared. They're all scared. Lead them into Boston Park. You get up on a hill, and you look down at them and say, "I am Cyrus 2.0, and I will lead you to greatness." And that is when you turn round, bend over.
I knew this was coming somehow. I don't know how.
Me and Conrad get on our knees, put our hands to our mouths, and just scream at your ass. Just,
What?
"Ah! Ah!" Just really like yelling, shouting, "Fuck! Fuck!" Like, as loud as we can, just directly at your presented posterior. What do you think of that idea?
I mean, it's... Ugh.
Boston
I hate...
is ours.
I really don't like hairy ass and balls.
You don't have to show us your hairy ass and balls.
Okay, so I can have pants on for this?
Well, I mean, you're going to be wearing gang colours. You're going to have your orange tracksuit bottoms on. I don't want to see your ass this time.
Good
God, Holmes.
I just want to yell at it.
So I'm just bent over wearing pants.
Yes! You're bent over wearing pants, still got Cheeto dust on your fingers.
That's fine.
And I would like for you to, while you're bent over, just like roll your eyes up to the sky and have a smile and just go, "Ah, ah," like that, just sighing like it's a real relief that this is happening to you, and sigh into the microphone so that the gangs of America know that you're like just having a great time at their expense. And we're me and Conrad just yelling, "Fuck cheese, like that. And while you're just that's real good, guys.
It's kind of like a reverse
Keep yelling.
fart in a way.
Keep screaming at my ass.
Yeah, instead of sounds and problems coming out of my ass, sounds and problems are you're trying to put them in verbally.
I'd love to fill your ass with problems.
I bet.
Fill my ass with problems.
But I've got pants on, so this idea is good. to me.
Let's link hands and fill my ass with problems. We'll do this as well in front of the gangs. Once we're done screaming, we can link arms and just go, let's link hands and fill my ass with problems. We're the fluffy pumpkins. We're the fluffy pumpkins. My ass is full of problems. We're the fluffy pumpkins. Now you
KK
can
is
fuck
there.
off. KKK, you fuck off. Crips and Bloods, you fuck off. LA Kings, you fuck off. Hells Angels, you fuck off. All of you fuck off.
And that's how they've joined in that. That
They're
perspective, as
united.
Conrad
Yeah,
puts it.
yeah.
There's a common perspective.
Well,
Right.
we're sending the message that they're no longer those gangs. They're now all fluffy pumpkins.
Mm.
So we point at Coney's guerrilla soldiers. Guerrilla soldiers, fuck off, fuck off, fuck off. You can all fuck off, you fucking dicks. And they'll be joining. They'll be delighted. They'll be clapping their hands, firing their guns into
Singing
the air.
along,
Mm.
Yeah. Going
contributing their own gang names.
Yes! We will fuck off! We will fuck off! That's what they're saying.
We will all fuck off together.
Wow. I'm picturing on a magic carpet singing that with Jim as Jasmine. And
Let's all fuck off right now over me.
that's the Beatles.
That is the Beatles,
Yeah.
but with lyrics reappropriated for the purposes of a gang chant.
Yeah, and I didn't even get. I was sure because in the Warriors, Cyrus is promptly killed, and that's the impetus for the whole story. I survived this story. My pants stayed on the whole time,
Yeah,
and the world was united, and
Yeah.
and the world's hate groups and violent groups and criminal groups all came together.
exactly.
It's pretty
And
nice.
it's a fantastic idea up until you get shot, and then obviously we'll deal with that after.
I don't want to get shot. Why? What's the point of me getting shot at this point? Then they're
The
gonna
point-
blame it all-
I think it's pretty inevitable that you're going to get
The
shot.
point of the
maybe.
point of you getting shot is so that we can reach the ultimate end game of this plan.
What's that?
The ultimate end game of this plan is for me the next morning, 3 beer bottles on my fingers going, Warriors, come out to play, hey! Because I've always wanted to do that and I'll finally have an excuse.
That movie is really good. You're making me want to watch that movie again.
Watch it.
Cyrus! That guy's voice is so awesome. He's Cobra Commander before Cobra Commander in a lot of ways.
Very
And
true.
Lynn's Big on the radio. Oh, she's so good.
Man, she's awesome. That is an awesome movie. We should watch that movie.
Watch the movie, take notes, let me know how you're going to integrate more of that great footage into the Fluffy Pumpkins.
That's really what it's all about.
They'll make a movie about us. It'll be called The Fluffy Pumpkins.
I do think that a lot of your ideas would make great short video games. Like I did have a fleeting spirit of ambition after doing some Sup Holmes episodes with people who are involved with a lot of 24-hour game jams. And games actually come out of them that are really good, like hundreds of games. I thought, why don't they do a Jim Sterling's Ideas from Podtoid's Game Jam? And
Podtoid Game Jam?
there's some pretty good games that could come out of it. And Thomas Truong and others on the Podtoid wiki have kept track of everything you've come up with. So it's all there for reference. This would make a great video game. I'd play it.
Yeah.
Wow.
You like the idea, Conrad? Kind of, maybe?
I mean, it's the range of things that are said on this show that could then be turned around. Oh.
It would give Fox News anti-game mileage for years.
And I'm not saying we shouldn't encourage people to do this.
It just happened like Ludum Dare. I don't know if you guys have heard of the Ludum Dare. It's just a guy who just announces, hey, everybody, make video games based on this theme because I said so. And then they just do. And then he's like, good video games, guys. Now rank each other, please. And then they do.
Well, maybe we just get the Ludum Dare guy to do a jam where...
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Let's talk to Ludum Dare guy.
Make this game about a man in a mesh tank top on a lowrider.
I've seen weirder games come from these gosh darn jams.
Yeah, there's some pretty strange stuff that comes. I mean, a lot of really interesting stuff too. Right after the Newtown massacre was Ludum Dare 25, and so there, and the theme was you are the villain.
Mm.
So I mean, it was just like Jesus Christ, it couldn't have come together more perfectly. And there were a number of games, of course, that would do that. But one of them was very aptly on the nose. It was called Social Commentary. Like, okay, we get it, dude. But it was a shopkeeper game where you run a gun shop. And your store's open from X hour to X hour, and it sort of plays like Root Beer Tapper, where customers will come in and stand at a position on the counter and say, I want this type of gun in this color. And then you go get it from the stock behind if you have it. Otherwise, they'll accept something of the same color or of the same type, but you get less money for it. And then they march out. And then when the store closes, you have to go home. And everybody that you sold a gun to is out there.
What? Just on the streets?
Yeah, they're on the street shooting their guns. And so you have to run across the screen. It's just a straight shot, while all of these people are using the various implements of death that you just sold them. Make it home alive, and you can spend some of your money to you can spend some of the money on advertising to bring more consumers in on a day, or you can spend it lobbying politicians to get gun laws changed, I guess, which opens up a wider inventory option and greater profit potential. And of course, then they're deadlier weapons, so it's harder to get back home at night, and you get 7 days to profit as best you can if you can survive.
That's it's cheeky, of course, and
It is cheeky.
oversimplifying the issue, but pretty funny.
I'm getting this impression that there's some social commentary in this game.
Yes. Well, it's hilarious because every time you go home, the title is, like painted on the street, basically, as you scroll across in huge letters. So,
social commentary.
There's nothing subtle about what they're trying to say, but what I think is really interesting about it is that the game runs a little too short. It's a little too hard to grasp, to get into the mechanics of, and it moves too quickly. It's a little too demanding right out of the gate. But I mean, this is a 48-hour made game, and the center of it, the idea that the player creates their own difficulty through being skilled at one aspect of the game. Now they're making it harder for themselves to accomplish objective B.
Sure.
I think that's a really interesting application of mechanics, social commentary or not.
Yeah. That's something a lot of developers I'm talking to are saying. How can we make it so it's not just selecting easy, normal, or hard? Because no one ever feels 100% sure that they picked the right difficulty. Yeah?
Didn't Rise of the Robots, of all games, have a kind of AI that adapted to that?
They said it did.
They said it did. I remember hearing something like that back in the day. Of course, I was very young then, so it probably was bullshit. But I remember them talking about it.
The idea has been there for...
Oblivion, of course, did it by accident.
Mm-hmm.
The game became impossible if you were too good at certain things too quickly. But I do like that idea of basically hanging yourself with your own success.
Yeah, and I love the game jams because it gives people time and opportunity, and just enough time to focus in on one thing and try to make it really interesting. Some twist, some spin, and that's all. That's enough for me. You get me a game with one original idea in it these days? Shit.
For free, no less.
Well, yeah, that's fine. I mean, Lord knows I'm paying $60 very frequently for games that have no original ideas in them.
Yeah, absolutely. And they could be doing those games about Jim Sterling's ideas.
They could. Yeah, they could.
It'd be pretty fun.
They shouldn't.
I think they should. It would be... For them, it would be easy money that they won't technically make any money. But it's the fun is already built in with the idea. Then they just have to come up with a mechanic to have it make sense somehow.
Yeah.
That would be if I could make video games, I would love that challenge. All right, so I will do that. I will find Ludum Dare guy this weekend and see what he thinks.
Should get Ludum Dare guy on Sub Homes.
I've been thinking that for a while. Yeah, we're booked out until June already.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, some people want to be on the show, which is nice.
Yeah.
It is very nice.
Yeah, I'm very flattered by that. What else should we talk about video games? Why, so much other stuff happened. 1UP died. The guy who made Yumi and the Cubes died. Depression Quest came out. We won't talk about that for too long. That's a great game about depression.
Layoffs as well at IGN and Yugo and 1UP, GameSpy. So a lot of bummer news, really.
Yeah, it was awful today.
Deaths and layoffs and a game about depression. Yeah, sad stuff. That's a shame.
It's the kind of stuff I think has always been going on, but for whatever reason, people want to talk about it more.
Social media, isn't it?
Yeah, we actually care about the good news and the bad news now, whereas in the past it would just be, if this isn't a game that's new and exciting to me, then I don't want to hear about it. But people care about all aspects of the game industry these days, which is pretty great.
Yeah, well, I think we learned that when Alistair last night was lamenting that amidst the PS4 news explosion, shit about Aliens Colonial Marines being shit was still the most popular stuff. People really care about that kind of stuff now, which is it's good. I think a lot of people should be calling out the bullshit a lot more. I'm glad that people are interested in it, whereas before, I mean, I've still had a few people. I believe Andrew Reiner from Game Informer has been criticizing the press for not getting off Gearbox's back, and we should all just go back to liking games and nothing else.
What? Really?
Well, yeah. I'd love to get back to liking games, but unfortunately I played Alien Colonial Marines.
Exactly. So I've had a few people that are like, oh, just let it go. But a lot of people are still really into it and want a conclusion to that, and they want answers. And that's good. I think gamers should be demanding answers for things when they're... $60 isn't cheap, and when you've been sold a lie, I think you deserve...
I went to my Subway last night, like 1 a.m, as I'm apt to do. And the usual night guy is there, and he knows, we talk. He knows what I do. And he's like, yeah, so I just got Aliens Colonial Marines.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, no, dude, no. No. What do I tell you? You ask me first.
Yeah, it's a shame, that game.
It's very unfortunate.
It is a shame.
It's the situation surrounding it that just feels unfortunate at this point, because bad games do happen, and we know that, and I think the consumer is accepting of the fact that bad games do occasionally happen. But
this was
a whole other thing.
It from there,
and there's just so much intrigue to it. I mean, new stuff's coming out all the time. I'm in contact with like a bunch of people from the Aliens fan base and the Gearbox community and everything. They've been sending me stuff there. Doing awesome stuff, actually, finding all sorts of interesting things. They dug up yesterday. I didn't get around to posting it till today, but yesterday they dug up a whole bunch of resumes from Timegate employees, which detailed how much work they did on Colonial Marines, and it was a lot.
Really?
For a game that Gearbox is credited publicly outside of the game as the developer of Colonial Marines. When you see how much Timegate did, you wonder how much was left for Gearbox to develop. I know everything that comes out seems to corroborate those rumors that go back to the anonymous guy on Reddit and the stuff he was saying, which falls in line with some of the other stuff I was hearing, and Alistair was hearing, and all this stuff. So it's a fascinating story, and I think in lieu of the game being good, it's the only entertainment that could be had from that. I don't even mean that sarcastically. I genuinely think that because the game was so disappointing, and Aliens fans in particular were looking forward to it for so long, this is kind of the runner-up prize. Like, this is what they've got to latch onto and occupy their thought space that would have been taken up
the home game.
Yeah.
And for better or worse, I've heard a lot of people say, well, I wasn't really interested in the game, but I've heard that it's so bad that now I have to find out. So Gearbox could be like, thanks for still talking about my game instead of just saying it sucks and then
Well, there
going
is
away.
something to be said for there not being any bad press.
Well, suffice to
Um,
say, Randy Pitchford's not been thanking me.
Yeah, it. Now I'll be perfectly honest. I am not that interested in the whole thing. You make it sound interesting as a friend of mine when you talk about it. Your vocal tone is so contagious. But when I'm reading about it, I'm like, oh yeah, a guy. They are bad, and then I'm kind of already not interested. I just know they did a bad job. But all the same, more power to you for writing about it and digging into it and giving the story to the people who want it. That's great. And I'd figure he would say the same thing, or he would say, "Oh, you called me a liar. Well, let me tell you that I'm not a liar, and here's why." Instead of just blocking
Yeah.
you on Twitter
Well,
and then
I think
talking about
Randy's demonstrated before. He's got a unique idea of what games press's function is.
Oh, okay.
I think he demonstrated that when he said that Eurogamer were shoddy journalists for announcing Borderlands 2. Because Game Informer had the rights to that exclusive. Which might be why we're getting defenses of Gearbox from over there. But
Mm.
they had the rights to that exclusive, Borderlands 2. It was all set for the reveal. Game Informer, of course, is very much acts like a big press release sometimes for games. They get the exclusive reveal, they get 6 months of coverage that's just theirs, which, fair play to them for swinging it. You got to be competitive somehow.
Although their criticism, I do think, is generally pretty good. I don't tend to have a problem with their reviews so much.
Oh yeah, I'm not suggesting that it
Yeah,
affects their editorial.
that's the thing. Well, yeah, exactly. I want to make sure that there's an understanding that there's no implication of impropriety or anything.
No,
But,
that was a joke. What I said about them defending Gearbox because of the border. No, I like the Game Informer guys. I like Andrew Reiner, even though I completely disagree with him on his current stance. But because Eurogamer broke the story before Game Informer had their chance to, Randy Pitchford called them bad journalists when
Right.
they were basically being the opposite by printing true information regardless of whether a public relations department wanted them to or not.
Or a competitor wanted them to or not. In fact, I think that's actually kind of the point.
Yeah, I mean, that is
Like-
the essence of journalism. But Randy Pitchford has a very unique idea of what our job is, and I think he believes our job is publicity for them, another wing of. And sometimes it's true.
Oh, sure.
I have to
You
say,
can make an argument for that.
sometimes it's been evidence that it's not too far off the mark, but I'm not there to promote his games.
Some people do want to get into the industry to do that.
A lot
but
of people do, an alarming number of people go into PR. I wouldn't. I feel like if I did, everything I've ever written should be like gathered up and burned, because it would just be meaningless at that point. And again, that's just my personal standards. I don't
Sure.
mean to impose those on anyone. Same with the previews thing. There's been a lot of talk about previews because I said I don't want to do previews anymore. And Jason Shearer from Kotaku was like, that's a great idea. Everyone should do that. And I'm like, I wasn't saying that. I just don't want to do it. If anyone else doesn't want to do it, fine. I like reading previews. I just don't want to do them. I don't like. I feel it's safer for me to just keep PR at a distance. Otherwise, things like this happen. I mean, Randy seemed to feel like I maybe betrayed him a bit in my stance. Because, I mean, he was always totally friendly with me when I was excited for Colonial Marines. Not so much now that it came out and I didn't like it.
To his credit, I mean, I can only imagine the amount his amygdala is getting stimulated. You guys know about amygdalas?
Yeah, that's a Batman villain. A guy who is always angry. That's what it is, isn't it? Like, it makes you angry.
It's the fight or flight part of the brain. And when your name, your reputation, your entire company, your life, the life of everyone at the company, When all of that's on the line, that's about as big of a threat as you can get. And when your amygdala gets triggered, you see it. When you're driving a car and someone almost hits you, you're ready to kill the other person in the car, even if it was an accident. It just happens. Your brain is not your friend. Sometimes it's stupid and it makes mistakes. And I feel like, no offense to Randy Pitchford, of course, I would never say anything about him that's negative, but his brain is stupid and he's making some mistakes.
Well,
Um,
the media blackout thing is completely understandable from an internal perspective. If they come out and say, "You're right, we screwed up," they also have to say, "We're going to fix it."
Right, but
And
he's promoting,
well, that was it.
like, in the face of people, and stop me if I'm wrong on this, Jim, because you followed it better.
Mm.
But in the face of people saying, "Oh, he lied, he made a bad game, he farmed out the game to other people," then you look at his Twitter feed and it's just like, look at all these people who love aliens, Colonial Marines, like just completely.
Yeah, and
Uh,
yep,
in a way, I mean, you could understand him doing that for Duke Nukem Forever because there was a strong fan base that still defended that game to high heaven. But this one, with the controversy of the false PR and the stuff that looks like fucking lies
mhm.
surrounding it and the controversy, it was just not the right call for him to start playing the praise grandstanding argumentum ad populum card.
Right.
And that's what I said that pissed him off. That's why he blocked me, because I publicly called him out and said, "You're kind of showing contempt for the people who feel very gypped by this.
Mm.
Are you sure this is the right way to go?" And then, he blocked me and then tried to talk to me after he blocked me. So I had to hear it secondhand.
That usually only happens to me from very troubled people late at night who are tweeting at me about. Every once in a while, someone will start getting really angry about something I said maybe 4 or 5 years ago, and I can't even get a word in edgewise or make any sense. They're sending like 10 tweets at me before I even get a chance to respond. So I'll just start sending them videos of Gem and the holograms or whatever I like because I want to have fun. So I'm like, hey, why don't we just watch this video together? Because clearly, and then they'll block me and start talking about me after they've blocked me about how I'm
Yeah.
the worst
Oh,
person.
I've seen like 20 tweets in a row about me by some people before, not even directed at me, or just talking to their three
Really?
followers.
About you?
Anyone who will listen. Crazy stuff. But
Sure. Not
with
the that's not what Randy Pitchford should be doing in his position.
yeah, well, he didn't do it to that extreme, but he did accuse me of grandstanding for attention and saying things with the intent to injure him, which isn't the case. I like Randy Pitchford. I've always liked the guy. I maintained in the Jimquisition the day before, like just so that you know it's not me just saying it after the fact. The day before he did this block stuff, I was saying that I like the guy, and I do feel. I mean, I feel bad for anyone like the idea that I might be partially responsible for him being under a lot of stress. I get very bad migraines brought about with stress because I'm working like 7 days a week. Um, I feel bad when I think that things I do affect people negatively like that, even if I think they might deserve to be called out. It's not pleasant. It's not nice. And I wish I could have been giving a 9 out of 10 to fucking Colonial Marines. But this is the
Just
situation we're
imagine.
in.
To me, it's so simple. I hate to sound condescending to poor Randy Pitchford or anyone who thinks he's doing the right thing, but so simple. You just write, you're Randy Pitchford, so you just get Jim Sterling's email. You write him an email saying, Jim, you're writing a lot of stuff about me, and it's really making me feel awful. I just wanted to let you know, instead of doing it publicly on Twitter, where it's going to turn into. It's so different to have this conversation on email than in front of the audience of hundreds of thousands of people potentially. Just
Yeah.
so weird. And then you, Jim Sterling, could write back and say, "Randy, game sucked. I got to talk about it." But
why do we do this shit? Like, why do we treat
I
Twitter
don't
like it's an
know.
instant messaging
It is
service?
not fun. It's so weird to me that they keep and you're only like, let's say your amygdala is triggered and you're in fight or flight and you're like irrationally attacking Jim Sterling for no reason. The last place you want to do that is in the internet, where there's thousands of potential new threats who are going to witness your behavior and then call you a douchebag.
Yeah.
He's just
The
asking for
guy, the guy
hey,
last night who threatened to fuck me up, for
what?
for criticizing David Cage learns that, because I will just retweet it if it's funny.
Yeah,
And
don't do
threatening
that
to fuck me
publicly.
up is pretty funny, and I will share it, and it gives people a laugh, and then they go and have a nice chat with the guy.
Over David
Um,
Cage, he was
oh
defending
yeah, he was
Cage's.
furious because I suggested that David Cage might be talking bullshit. He said that he hoped David Cage fucks me up, and then a few seconds later, like not happy with that, he said, "No, I'll fuck you up myself." um, and then eventually just went into the normal territory. This was like 10 minutes later, long after I'd forgotten about him. He had to come back to say, just to let me know that I was fat, of course.
Oh, that's such a
Because
good way to
he then
point
read
something to you. Yeah.
he then read my article about the ugly old man demo.
Mm.
And he was furious that I was calling a fictional, non-character old head ugly. And said, well, you are fat, so you can't call him ugly. You can't judge other people's looks. And then said, have you jerked off? I can't even, he misspelled it some way, but he was like, have you jerked off over Lara Croft yet? Video game characters don't all have to be beautiful. You are part of the problem.
You are you're the reason why video game characters. Wait, so he admitted the old man is ugly. He's just saying you should like an ugly old man and stop masturbating to beautiful women?
Something like that.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Internet.
But
Yeah,
but
it's a
yeah.
place.
So like I said, I do feel bad that I do this. I am doing the stuff with the alien stuff because there are people at Gearbox I still like. I don't think any of them like me anymore. Any
They
of the
might not be
people at
able to.
Gearbox are fans of
Neurologically
mine.
speaking, they can't.
Um,
It's just their brain is trained
yeah,
to see you as a threat
but
now,
it
so they
is,
just can't.
and that makes me sad.
Sure.
But this is my job.
Mm.
This is what I tried to explain again. Like it had to be totally indirect after the block, but as I tried to answer Randy, it's like you tell me to send you emails in private. The last time I privately talked to you, you told me that Aliens Colonial Marines was going to have deferred lighting. You know,
Sure.
it's everybody you owe an explanation to, not me in a private email, which you'd probably ignore because everybody who's trying to contact Gearbox is getting ignored.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that whenever someone says, "Oh, you should be talking to me privately," I'm just thinking, why? So that you can ignore it.
Well, why wouldn't he talk to you privately? It's why is the auspice on you? It's
I don't. Yeah, well, that's it. I mean, I'm the one with the job to do the
public.
public
Yeah.
stuff. You
Mhm.
know. But anyway, you know, I don't want to just bitch about Randy.
Well, it did kind of tie back into PS4-ness and how if you said anything bad about the PS4, people already got angry at you. Did you notice that? If you're like, oh, not that exciting, some stuff.
Oh yeah.
There was already a lot of defensiveness to the PS4, a non-existent console.
I'm getting nostalgic. This reminds me of when I joined when I first started writing for Destructoid. Back in those days when the console generation was still young, and people like their paranoia and anger and feelings of martyrdom almost for their corporation of choice was at an all-time high, and you couldn't say anything without pissing someone off. And that's how you know the generation has kicked off again.
Mm-hmm.
We are officially in a new console generation now because you can't make one joke, you can't make one criticism, you can't even praise the thing without fucking someone off. Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be an exciting new time.
It's going to
I
be a
didn't.
really good time to be a blogger, I gotta say.
It's weird. I just realized this is going to sound like an intentional segue into a plug of Teenage Pokemon. But the new Teenage Pokemon came out, and it's called Teenage Pokemon Console Wars. I probably wouldn't have called it that. That was Machinima's idea. It's not really about the console wars, but lo and behold, geez, what? It came out Sunday. Today's Thursday. I don't think more than 10 minutes goes by without a new comment on that video that has nothing to do with the video. That is just something along the lines of Crisis 3, fuck shit. I hate Metal Gears for fags. Just like nonsensical. It's constant, like on 24-hour cycle. If you poke the console wars hornet's nest, the bees don't stop coming out, or the hornet bees. They'll sting your face all day and night for 5 days.
Yep.
They can't stop talking about it. It's amazing. I mean, and then mixed in there, there'll be some very sound arguments, or some ideas, or people just talking about the difference between the consoles. And then, I don't know, it's been fascinating. Having written for Podtoid for, geez, years now, 5 years maybe. You write a story. If it's an interesting story or a thought-provoking story, you can expect hundreds of comments and feel like you really sparked a discussion, and that's great. You do a video on machinima, there's got to be at least 10,000 comments on this thing. Like, they literally don't stop. It is so weird. It's a weird feeling, guys. Feel my weirdness?
Yeah.
It's really weird. Yeah. Anyway, so that happened. I guess we should do questions.
Yeah, let's do questions.
Cat just attacked the crap out of me. Did you hear him growling? You hear my cat growl? What happened to you? Where'd you go?
Huh?
How are you?
I think the energy's gone.
Oh no!
I had my big burst at the beginning and it's slowly drained.
I was thinking about
Getting
doing
late.
my Willem Dafoe pitch.
Yeah, do it.
I don't know. It's too long.
Like
Do
a
it.
quickly softening member just deflating.
Yeah. The post-coital.
And then you go outside, just stand outside because you want that gust of cold air, but what you're really secretly trying to do is seeing if you can invert, if you can just build on that momentum, pull it all the way back in.
That's the thing that's fun about being a guy with a penis, as you guys probably know. You can try to make it so you don't have one. Women, sadly, they can't just make it look like they have a penis for the most part without assistance. But we can try. Yeah, we can tuck and jam and tighten and hide. It's pretty fun. Pretty neat.
Yeah, but there comes a point where gravity starts working its dark magic.
You mean testicle sag?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not. I haven't.
Like a
paid
fucking
attention.
grandfather clock down there.
It's
just depressing.
You need a small army from Lilliput with ropes just hauling it up on your shoulders.
Yep.
I don't pay attention to my testicles at all, so I don't know. But I'll look for
Nobody pays attention to mine either.
The Quantum Cat, known as Albert, asks, "What do you think of ad blockers? It seems to be the drama of the day." I didn't know that, but
I didn't realize it was the drama of the day. I did see.
It was a drama for 10 minutes.
I saw McElroy make a tweet about ad block that I retweeted because yes, I do agree that it's not helpful to us as content creators who are distributing that content for free when you circumvent really the only means by which we can profit off of it.
Mm-hmm.
That makes me sad.
Sure. I think it's great to make people aware of the fact that, oh, you are making us maybe go out of business by doing ad block. But, okay, we've told you that. Now, use ad block or not. As long as they know how important it is, then you can move on.
And I'm not going to pass judgment on anybody because ads are freaking annoying. I get it. I totally understand, and you have that option available to you, and it's your choice to employ an ad blocker if you wish. But when you do it, be aware that the people that you like to read content from, not just at Destructoid, but everywhere on the web, that's the business model here. And you're taking yourself outside of it, and it hurts. That's all. It's just there is an impact. Whether that's an incredibly high impact or a small impact is going to depend on the audience size of an individual site, and there's all sorts of different ways it can break down. Sites like ours, because our audience is technologically savvy, they know that ad block exists, and many of them, I'm sure, use it.
But by us coming out and saying we're not judging you. Similar to how a good game developer, like guys who made Anodyne, kind of a Zelda game, recently partnered with Pirate Bay and said, if you buy our game, then we will be able to live. And if
And
you
I did
don't,
buy their game. I bought Anodyne on that promotion,
oh, that's fun.
and it's quite
Uh,
fun.
yeah, they just pointed it out, and then people could decide from there. Whereas if they had said, you pirate dicks, we hate you, then people would
Yeah,
have pirated the game. Yeah,
this is where I disagreed with Justin McElroy's approach,
yeah.
because he was telling people they were stealing from him and
Oh,
this kind of
right.
business, and I'm like, because I've talked about AdBlock before on Twitter, I've brought it up. As someone who is very pro-consumer, goes out of his way to be on the side of the customer, I don't blame anyone for using ad blocker. I really don't. I know how obnoxious it is. The only people I get angry at are the people who made ads so obtrusive and obnoxious that I can totally understand why ad blocker exists. If I'm to be angry at anyone, it's the fucking bastard who designed an advert that every time I accidentally and inadvertently mouse over it goes, say something! If I
And
ever
there's
meet that person, I'm going to feed him his own fucking dick.
And there's an aspect of economics to this too that people may not even be aware of. One of the reasons that ads can suck on a site and be really awful, obnoxious ads is because those ads are easy to buy. You don't have to necessarily sell a as big an audience to get those ads on the site. So if less people are if people are using ad block and pulling themselves out of the audience pool that are counted as ad impressions, it actually makes it harder for us to get better ads onto the site and get those terrible, awful ads off the site.
Mm-hmm.
So using ad block actually creates it impairs the experience for everyone.
Yeah, it's a
Um,
negative feedback loop.
Flip. But yeah, I mean, like I say, I understand people use
but yes, but
adblock.
I don't begrudge you using it because the ads suck. I get it. That's
Yeah.
cool.
And I would like. I think we've said this on Podtoid before. If you have adblock on while you use Destructoid, but you like what we do and you want to do something to I mean, especially Podtoid, a lot of people say to me, like, how can we further reward you listening to Podtoid for the stuff you do, like the 2 hours of recording a week? What can we do to help you out in some way or pay you back for that? And I'm like, well, first of all, no payment necessary because
Yeah,
this is
pretty
fun.
much, yeah.
But if you would like to do something, if you've got adblock on, think about maybe switching it off for Destructoid. It literally helps us. It literally helps us, and can all work towards making the site better. So I would just urge you to think about it. You don't have to do it. You shouldn't feel obliged to do it, but if you would
I'm not going to
oblige
show up at
us,
your house with a knife if you don't do it.
yeah, and I don't think you're a thief for
Yeah.
doing it. But think about it. The only people who use adblock that I would not extend any courtesy to are the ones who proudly come on and say, oh, I'm so glad I use adblocker for this site, you suck, yet
Yeah.
are constantly there and constantly telling me what to do. And I've talked about this before. There are a number of people on Destructoid who have constantly tell me how to do my job and what I should be doing for them, and what I should be doing to appease them and please them on the site, while they've also publicly showboated how much they love using ad blocker on the site. Fuck you. At that point,
Yeah, you are literally a drain on resources.
you are a complete parasite, because not only are you, viewing the content for free, which is fine. I don't begrudge anyone. What matters to me more than anything is just that my content's being viewed. But at that point, you do nothing for me because you're not taking on board anything I'm saying, which is the only other trade-off I get from someone using adblocker. And at the same time, you're trying to dictate what I do for you. You're trying to make me work personally for your enjoyment, for literally nothing.
And through your pride in the act of using ad blocker, you're encouraging others to use an ad blocker.
I'm not your fucking eunuch. So absolutely fuck you in that case. You do literally nothing for me, and actually are just trying to contribute to making my job harder by constantly trashing me and as Conrad says, trying to encourage others to do the same. So yeah, I've got no time for you.
I don't go where you work and pull the shit out of your ass. Wait, I didn't get that right, did I? That's not
Pretty
right.
close. Yeah, you could. You could help them. We have 63 questions since.
Of course we do.
Isn't that weird? That's so nice that they care. I'll just scroll through, see randomly. Lewis Gibb, Wee Man Joe on Twitter, says if he hasn't done it already, remind Conrad he was about to talk about memes. Were you going to talk about memes, Conrad?
Oh, Revengeance.
Revengeance memes.
Yeah, well, no, Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance. It's
Sure.
the same basic theme that's in every Metal Gear game prior to this one. It's the ways in which we transfer ideals and whether or not we or what ideals we create, how we pass information on from one generation to the next, that sort of thing. And so yeah, that's what I was going to talk about. But I haven't actually given enough thought to it to run a conversation on that. So but it's
Sounds
an
like an
interesting,
interesting, starting point for sure.
it's an interesting thing. But it's not really that different or original. For well, I mean, Christ's sake, Metal Gear games have been doing it for the entire run. So
Sure, but it does it in a very different way. It seems like it truly.
yeah, I
Yeah,
guess.
no, it seems like it.
The
I mean,
gameplay is entirely different.
yeah, that's
Like, or
what.
at least in terms of where it places its emphasis on what you do.
Sure.
You can stealth through a lot of the game, and there are like our achievements for stealthing through the game and things like that. But all of the like goal-oriented metrics by which we rate success in games, scores, ratings, progress in skill, those are only reflected in combat.
Mm-hmm. So it's
And
telling you to do combat in that way, as
yeah,
opposed to regular Metal Gear, which tells you don't
right.
even
Don't
try
even
it.
try
Yeah.
it. And part of that is because regular Metal Gear, you have to, you know, you're going into combat not just with your enemies, but with its combat system.
Mm-hmm.
And which CQC improves a lot of that in the later games. But
Sure.
at the same time, this is saying don't try and sneak through this shit because you're just not built for it. Like you can put that box over your head and pretend that you're Solid Snake, but you can't walk. You just run. He's just fast. The controls are so sensitive that doing a creep up is unbelievably dragged out and awful of an experience at times. So certain things just aren't suited to doing stealth, but you can do it. The options there. I like that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But what I don't like is how the support staff treats it like it's still a sneaking mission. They will say, "Oh, I found a route that you can traverse where there are no enemies." And then if you get spotted, they're like, "Oh, damn it, Raiden! I thought you were good at sneaking."
I kind of like that. It speaks to the persona that Raiden just can't be as good as Snake, and he's always expected to be. He's always expected to be the lead for the fans and also for the characters in the game that
Right,
Snake
but then
was.
they
And they're like,
praise you, but they actually praise you when you do it successfully.
right,
And
which is
that's I
hard.
think that's the distinction. Well, it's not actually hard.
Yeah.
It's just you got to wait for the timing part and then move.
So
That's
it's
it.
not hard in terms of physical dexterity or strategy, but just in terms of
Just
being
finding the
patient
right
enough.
window and being patient and knowing when you can afford to be patient. Like
Mm-hmm.
if you need to rescue a civilian from someone for whatever reason you're pursuing that optional objective, you can't wait around for that. But otherwise, you're not really in a rush unless you want to get finished in under a certain time period. And maybe it's not possible to sneak through the game under certain lengths of time for some people. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. And
Uh,
it's just hard for people to withstand their urge to just cut a guy in half. That takes a certain not for you, Conrad, because you're the guy who plays Grand Theft Auto and follows all the traffic lights and like
yeah.
rules of the road, which is uncommon, you know.
I'm an old man. I drive the speed limit in real life when I have to drive. And I used to be really irresponsible and kind of a reckless driver. And I liked speed, and now I get behind the wheel of a car and I'm just like, These people are gonna fucking kill me. No, it's not even these people are gonna kill me. I've made peace with death. It's that I'm gonna get like maimed.
Yeah,
I'm gonna get
it'll be
maimed,
painful
and
and
not
expensive.
gonna work the rest of my life. And yeah.
Yeah, you'll be the man with two faces.
Oh, nothing scares me more than being old, and
Mm.
and living a long time.
Yeah, I'm excited to live
I know
forever.
you follow my fucking diet plan, and that will never be a fear.
I'm off carbs actually. Speaking of diets, I'm gonna try to lose a bunch of weight again. I don't know if anyone noticed, but I actually was skinnier at a time around Detoid show. I tried to be skinny faced for that. But the guys who like to sexually objectify guys who work in the video game industry want to do a sexy man calendar. So I'm gonna try to be sexy for it.
Oh.
I think
I
we
put
could
on
all
my
be sexy
skinny
for it.
jeans today.
Did you? Are you
Yeah.
skinny?
Well, there's like 3 inches of space in them now. I bought them like 6 months ago, so I think I need to get new skinny jeans.
Oh, well, yeah. You could be in the calendar posing with the jeans on.
I just don't, I would highly encourage anybody who would like to lose weight to just not eat food.
Well, I haven't eaten a bread scrap since Sunday, so trying. Um, there's a lot of teenage Pokemon questions, which is nice, but I
Awesome.
don't really. Yeah, it's very nice. This feels a little weird to drag you guys into that. This one, at least, addresses Jim simultaneously. Andrew Boyko asks, "Has Jim been conscripted into teenage Pokemon yet? Any plans for another animated series if Pokemon does all right? Question mark. More Tim Curry." That's more of a demand at the end, I guess. Jim is going to be in not this Sunday's episode, but I believe the Sunday after that, which is exciting. I feel badly about it. Just this morning when I was driving, I was like, I should have come up with better stuff for Jim to do. Oh, I should have done it totally differently. But with animation, geez, when did I ask you to record that stuff, Jim? Was it January or December?
It was a fair few weeks ago, I think.
Yeah, it was a while ago, and you did a version of it, and then you did a little bit differently, and then, but with animation, you can't make a last minute change in that week, and I was really rushed to try to get the audio done for these 4 episodes within like 2 weeks, and I'm not an expert at this. I'm stressed out and self-conscious, and sitting there with a blanket over my head and a microphone, going fuck you, and then saying, no, I'm an idiot. That's not how he would say fuck you, and then going, fuck you. No, that sucks. Just imagine that for 8 hours. Just me with that blanket on my head. So yeah, I did my best, guys, but it's not as good as I want it to be. Jim, I think you did a wonderful job, and I hope you enjoyed being on it. That'll be in a couple weeks. And another animated series, god damn it. These are so hard to make. It's like hundreds of hours, I would guess, between me and the animators and the artists and the editors. Just to do like one episode, it's at least 100 hours. So I will not do another one unless it's easier and more profitable. Because I'm also losing money on it. I didn't mention that. It's not a profit deal for me. It's because I'm giving all the money to the artists. But then sometimes I'll need some art suddenly that wasn't in the budget, and I'll just buy it out of my own pocket. So it's a real passion project, guys.
So turn ad block off when you look at it.
It is doing pretty good. The last one's over 200,000 views already, as of
I
yesterday.
really liked this last one.
Oh, thank you.
It was enjoyable.
That's nice to say. Yeah, it's weird. The guy who edits it with me really didn't like the last one. He was like, "Dude, you fucked up. It sucks." And he liked the initial one a lot. Him and his fiance were laughing at the pilot episode, which a lot of people didn't like at all. So
I mean,
there's
the
really
weed
no
joke thing is, what are you gonna do? I think it's fine to get a little stoner humor in there.
Oh, that
At one
was
point.
Shinima's idea.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
I tried it.
Yeah, you had mentioned, I think, on Twitter or something that that was Machinima's idea, and you tried it, and it wasn't bad, but
Thanks. It's hard for me because it's not something
It's not
I
your
would
thing.
ever. No. So
Yeah.
I tried to make it work for me and also for people who would relate with it a little bit more. So, who knows?
No, I thought it was cute. It was, and more importantly, you got it out of the way.
Well, the thing is, if that ends up being the most popular episode ever, and Machinima says with the money they are paying the artist to make it, only more pot jokes and Pokemon battles,
I'll
then
help you
that,
write drug humor. I know enough from my friends' experiences in high school and college that yeah,
yeah,
we should have no trouble transferring that into Pokemon. That's fine.
yeah.
I had a buddy named Nick who was one of the smartest dudes I ever met, and he huffed his entire intellect away. It was absolutely astounding. Then you'd go spend the night, and by that point he'd already progressed to meth. But he hadn't told you that he was tweaking out of his fucking mind. So you wake up in the middle of the night, and Nick's in the kitchen cleaning the oven, and he wasn't a particularly tidy guy. I don't understand why the oven was so the priority at that moment. But hey, meth, what can you do? It's a hell of a drug.
Oh, what people do with their brains. Well, I could talk more about that, but I won't. Raymond Chan, Solman writer, asks, why aren't there more Asians in Western games? Because
Because there are not many white people, or not many not white people in Western games.
yeah, it
Because,
is white people in Western
Yeah.
games because it's safest. It's what if you have a $300 million budget and you're like, we got to make sure that everyone might think this is for them. Then just do white guy. He's default, I guess, right? I mean, everyone likes James Bond, right? Let's just do that. Everyone likes Scarface, right? Just do white guy Scarface. Even though he's not a white guy,
oh,
Scarface.
the Scarface, they did okay. The Scarface game was not bad.
Sure, but like most people think Scarface is white until they
Yeah.
like pay attention.
But then
to
again, I mean, aren't that many Asian characters in Asian games.
well, not ones that look like they're of any human race. I mean, they'll have Asian features, but then also an afro, like a blonde afro, and it's oftentimes Japanese games anyway. The whole idea of conceiving race between the rules we have now just gets dumped, which I've always kind of liked actually. But you're right. There's rarely just a human being looking person in Japanese games. I think. Or did I say the wrong thing?
No, I think that's fine. I
Sure.
mean,
I mean, Lightning looks kind of Asian, maybe, but also Caucasian, and her hair is pink naturally. So that's not what humans don't have pink hair. I don't think.
thank
Human.
God.
Also, fat people. I just saw him scroll up. Yeah, people. I've been meaning to write about it for a while, and I probably never will. Um, they just don't want to take the risk. Game developers. It's not that they're racist or prejudiced. It's just more risky for a variety of reasons to do anything other than what's most expected because it's going to draw undue attention or if make people who are racist feel alienated or people who aren't even racist but are just like, oh, I tend to like stuff with people that look like this in it. So even on a subconscious level, that's just the direction I go in. I
And
love
yet, once
Seinfeld.
again, proving how progressive and ahead of its time it was, Metal Slug treated the morbidly obese as a power-up.
That is good. I've written about that before, I think. I do love it. Alberto Donato wants to know if Podtoid is Buffyverse canon. Is Office Chat Angelverse canon? Good question.
Well, it's all the same. Angelverse is in the Buffyverse.
Right.
So it is? Is Office Chat in the same verse as Podtoid?
I'm pretty sure. Well, Office Chat isn't really fiction.
Podtoid? Wait, more so than Podtoid? Less? Podtoid's fiction?
Podtoid exists in the Buffyverse canon insofar as Buffy exists in a world that has Podtoid in it. It gets confusing. Basically, Buffy and the Scoobies and her friends could listen to Podtoid if they wanted to. None of them do.
Right. Yes. None of them. It's available. It's an option.
Yeah, none of them
but
have
they
even.
choose not to play.
I don't even think any of them are gamers. Maybe Xander, but Xander probably reads Polygon now. I don't even know whether that was implying anything. I didn't mean it to.
I know,
I
something
think he's
funny
just
about it.
really. I would think that by now the trend towards adoption of 3D would really impact his desire to continue gaming.
Yeah, yeah. If anything, I mean, Xander's probably
Come
trying to
on,
get the
come
master
on.
race.
Give me a little credit for that. I watched the entire goddamn series because of this podcast, and I
Oh, you
throw
were
in a
making.
reference to his.
Oh,
Come
I'm
on.
sorry. I'm slow on the uptake now. The energy's going. I apologize. It was probably good what you said.
This is
There's
a
no depth
question for you,
perception. You
Jim.
can't see
Oh.
in 3D.
Ah.
Jim, you got to get your energy back for this. This will reinvigorate you. Be
No, it won't.
inspired, please. Please be inspired.
No.
Bo Wizinski says, "What would David Cage have done to make Colonial Marines better?" This is a good question. The great, the two guys that have been on
I
your
would
mind
think
this week.
Colonial Marines made by Cage would be about understanding the alien, what drives it, what motivates it, what causes it to
Actually,
perform the acts that it
that
does.
would have been impossible for David Cage. The Xenomorphs don't have eyes.
Oh,
I can't put any polygons in their eyes. I leave this project. And then people would have said, David Cage is leaving Aliens Colonial Marines. He's just made it better. And that's how he'd do it.
I knew you'd be inspired for that one. You did good. You did good at talking. Man, I've been bad at talking this
I'd
week.
like to get
Sorry, no.
Cage, Molyneux, Pitchford, and Blow in a room, in a box, like in a box room, with a glass window, with a rabid Wolverine on the other side,
Of the window?
and acid dropping onto the lock of the door, separating the two chambers,
Whoa.
and
How
let
come?
the four of them figure out what to do.
Problem
Like
solver?
I would like to know the solution that the four of those four men come up with to that problem, because I think it would tell us a lot about game design, or solve a lot of problems with game design. Not sure.
That would be fantastic, because you'd
They
have
would-
David Cage looking at the Wolverine through the glass, just, this guy looks really angry, but I think I can see into his soul and see that there's a lot of sorrow there. Just see how sad his eyes are? There must be at least 300,000 polygons in that Wolverine's face. And you got John Blow just saying, oh, a scary Wolverine. Oh, that's impressive. Oh, never seen one of those before. Oh. And you also got Randy Pitchford would just tell everyone else he's got it figured. And
I
then
figured
when
he-
the door breaks, he'll say, oh, wait, I didn't. Who was the other one?
Molyneux.
Yeah.
Molyneux. He'd just say that the next Wolverine's going to be a lot better. So this Wolverine's a bit rubbish, but the next time we're trapped in a room, I'll come through for you guys.
Good times. Any more questions for you dudes? Should we close her up?
I can do one or two more if everyone else is fine. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
go on. That
Um,
did energize me a little bit.
oh yeah, I was hoping
It was
would.
like eating a banana before bed.
Yeah, that's fun. It's potassium. Feelings about PSN content not carrying over, especially the old emulations. There's emulations? Oh yeah, I guess the PS1 classics and stuff like that.
That's
sounds
what
good.
really bummed me, that bit, because there were a lot of people saying, oh, it doesn't need backwards compatibility. The backwards compatibility physically wasn't the bit that really kind of disappointed me. It was this idea that the PSN content wouldn't carry over. Especially, I mean, they only got PS2 games running on the PS3 relatively recently. And for that
Well,
to now
other
be
than the
useless.
initial rollout. I mean, they
Yeah.
rolled out with real backwards compatibility, then not, and then sort of.
And then they finally clawed it back digitally, and now we're being told that they don't even know if they're going to have digital backwards compatibility, which I don't think there's much of an excuse for. I really don't think there's much of an excuse.
No, I think there's a pretty good excuse for not having backwards compatibility. I mean, that cell processor is not going to be easy to emulate, and it's just the technical problem of doing it has got to be incredibly
Well, the thing
overwhelming.
is, how's the PS Vita doing it?
Mm,
How's the
mhm.
PS Vita running PSN games if it's not got a
Oh,
cell
okay, well, the
processor?
PSN, yeah, the straight up PSN stuff, I guess
That's the bit
you
I'm
have a,
talking
yeah,
about.
yeah.
That's like I said. I mean, I still wouldn't call the cell processor an excuse. I'd call that a reason for why it's not happening.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. It's not a matter of an excuse. It's that, but that's the reality of the
No,
situation is
yeah.
that they made this console with this architecture, and they have suffered for it as a result for the
Well,
entire length of this generation, and probably going in a fair bit into the next one.
yeah. I mean, like I say, I grant that. I wouldn't say it's a justification because that was Sony's silly idea in the first place, but the digital stuff I see no excuse for, and that's the bit that bummed me. Some people seem to get the wrong end of the stick when I was sort of expressing my frustration earlier. I grant you the cell processor thing is an issue, but it shouldn't be for me wanting to play Final Fantasy VII. I'm not buying it again. And I resent the idea that, oh, well, just keep your PS3 hooked up if you want to play that on a TV or what have you. No, I don't want to. So that,
Well, I mean, I don't get rid of any of the hardware at all. I mean, I have a closet space where I have everything sort of neatly stacked up and there for when I need it or I choose to play a game that's older. So this is backwards compatibility, while always nice and convenient, has never been one of those things that I thought, oh my God, I absolutely have to have that because I take care of my hardware and I make sure that it's going, to the best of my ability, is going to last as long as it can.
which is fine. No problem with people who don't think it's a big deal for them. Fine. That's cool.
Yeah,
For some people, it is.
yeah.
And it always annoys me when people don't understand that. It's like, okay, it's not a big deal to you. Not everyone's in your situation. Not everyone's going to have a PS3 and a PS4 realistically stored in their home.
Exactly. Yeah, and it's really just because I'm, a fucking nut for this stuff. Like I'm not the test case. I shouldn't be the model here. I all of us really, I think, in the press need to acknowledge that we're not the test case. We're not the demographic. We're unique. We get all the stuff always.
Yeah, well, I mean, funnily enough, it was actually a lot of gamers that were justifying it to me, which
Right.
is always weird. I don't know why so many corporate champions come from
Because they buy
consumer
everything
base.
too.
But yeah, but
Well, let's imagine. I meant to ask this anyway. Let's pretend that we're not working in this industry, and all we know about the PS4 is what we heard in the press conference. How much would you be willing to pay for it? Like right now?
if I had my old job,
Yeah.
um,
And all you knew about it was The Witness, new Infamous, new
Yeah.
Killzone, share button, and blue light, and the polygons, David Cage polygons. That's all you got.
yeah. Well, if I had my old job, first of all, I'd have to trade in my PS3 to fucking get it.
Mm-hmm.
So that automatically would put
And all
pay
your
to
PS3 games, I guess, because
Yeah.
you can't play those on the PS. Can you play those on the PS4? It's
No,
not even.
no.
No, I don't think so.
Physically, definitely not. They're talking about maybe bringing the digital stuff in through the cloud, like streaming it for you. But they said they could do that if they wanted to. They don't know if they want to. So they're really
all
going to
your
fuck
PS3 games
people
gone.
off. But yeah, so I mean that's the other thing. They're like, oh, just keep your PS3. It's like, well, for some people, trade-ins are important to them. I know. I was there. I've been poor for a lot longer in my life than I've been relatively well off.
And the way I would do it on the other end is instead of buying the console at launch, I would probably wait for the first price cut or possibly 3 years, whichever came, or maybe the second price cut.
Yeah.
I will wait. I have waited to get in on consoles until the generation was 6 months from being over in some circumstances. I have absolutely no problem with that because I want a library.
Yeah, well, I think I got my PS3 in 2008, 2009,
I
something
got one
like
in
that.
2010, yeah.
Because for a long time, when I was starting writing for Destructoid, I wasn't being paid all that much. Destructoid was still very much in the startup phase at that point, and it wasn't until we got bigger and I could do this as a job, and I could jack in working at in telesales and other soul destroying jobs, that I could actually start getting stuff. Otherwise, and again, this is another reason why I champion the used game industry so much, is because I remember being incredibly poor, and trade-ins were my bread and butter. That's how I got games, trading stuff in using store credit. So, I mean, that's what gets me when a lot of people say, "Oh, you just get games for free. You shouldn't even be talking about any of this." It's like I wasn't born getting games for free.
Mm-hmm.
I understand, because for most of my life, $60 for most of my life was treasure to me. That's like finding buried treasure. So I always place high value on that, and that's why I get steamed about these kinds of things when people say, "Oh, just keep your PS3." It's like, I could do that. Not everybody could, realistically, if they wanted a PS4. And you could, just sit there smugly and say, "Oh, well, they shouldn't even be buying games if they're poor." Fuck you. If you're working at McDonald's for a living, you fucking need video games more than anybody else to take your mind off the bullshit you go through.
You can get more.
I have to. The games are a luxury, and we acknowledge that. I don't think it's necessary to point it out. I think we can all just be aware that yes, not everybody can afford to pay.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm
pay
just
for games, and that's unfortunate, and maybe it's got to be that way. But
well, I mean, here's what I've always said.
Expensive.
Here's what I've always said about the games are a luxury thing. As soon as someone brings that up, it's like, okay, games are a luxury. If Sony's not giving me a reason to be able to afford to buy it,
exactly,
fuck them, I'll go somewhere else. Like, the luxury argument comes back around to bite the company in the arse. Really, it's on them to make this stuff more affordable so that they sell more.
Well, what isn't a luxury? Like, most clothes are a luxury. I could just be wearing sweatpants
Your
and
clothes.
a paper bag.
Your
clothes
clothes are a
luxury.
luxury, Jonathan.
Oh,
You don't
you
need
guys.
them. I'm furious you wear them.
I like to have clothes on because my body is the worst. Hairy and yucky. I hate it. But anyway, oof, I didn't mean to talk about that.
I have stretch marks. It's pretty awful.
Oh, it's okay.
Wife's always pointing out, "Oh my God, look at your stretch marks." I was like, "Woman, I don't talk to you this way."
But you can take it.
Yeah, well, what do I care?
Yeah, that's
I'd still fuck me. Whatever.
Odd Dino is all excited. He says, "Oh, I'm not normally awake for these. I don't know what that means. I don't know. It must be in a different time zone or something."
Or he works weird hours.
Sure, that could be too, because we record this at a time when most people are awake. I think 7 o'clock by my clock right now. He wants to know what we consider the perfect gameplay experience, and it doesn't need to be a real game. He says it can be a fictional game. Just the idea of the perfect gameplay experience in general. It's pretty tough. Do you guys have a favorite type of gameplay that you'd want? Like, you've thought, "Oh, this is just as fun as a video game could ever be."
I don't think favourite and perfect are necessarily the same thing.
No.
Limbo, I would say, is a game very close to perfect. It's not my favourite game. That was a huge laugh there.
I didn't do it. That's Conrad. I was.
Hang on. Starting the heart. Fuck. Oh,
That's Jim's. His idea.
Oh man, no, I actually think I bruised my chest pretty good doing that.
Good. I'm glad you bruised your chest. Now let me explain myself.
Sure.
Now I say that because Limbo is very simple in what it does. Mm-hmm. It has a goal. It accomplishes that goal in a way that pleases me, Conrad, me. And that is pretty much how you achieve perfection. The more things you have in a game, the more complex a thing is, the more shit there is to go wrong. Now, a game like Limbo might not be the experience I constantly go back to, but it is perfection in its elegance.
But you're right. Yes, I wholeheartedly agree with you. It's similar to how I feel about Super Crate Box, which is just. I mean, it's a incredibly simple concept. It's very challenging. It still differentiates itself from anything else I've played in a few very unique aspects. And I can go back to it again and again and again.
Yeah, Super Hexagon actually is another fine example.
That's an excellent example.
That's a game that it knows exactly what it's going to do. It takes the shortest path to doing it, and that game actually it's a better example than Limbo because I do go back to Super Hexagon a lot.
I do like that we're moving towards the word elegant, just like Sony wanted us to.
Oh, yeah. Elegant.
Except for anything not Sony related
Right,
that we're
right.
talking about.
Yeah, Limbo.
Wasn't it Randy Pitchford that used that word elegant in that dev reel? A lot of people
where they
actually...
didn't even list his name in that. I don't think.
A lot of people brought that up. They wondered whether Sony edited it because he's the only guy in that video not credited, and you don't see his face for very long. It's like they show the face for a split second just to let you know who it is, but they move away before you think about who it is.
Speaking of moving away quickly, and I don't want to sidetrack this into a thing, but The Blaze, that's Glenn Beck's online video network now that he has.
Blaze?
Yeah, I think that's what's called The Blaze.
Whoa.
Yeah. Woo, little flaming. Anyway, he did a bit on the Newtown massacre and the CBS story that ran about his treasure trove, his basement trove of video games that he had blacked out the windows and, played for hours and hours and hours and so forth. And Glenn Beck latched onto this and, tried to claim that CBS, then, took the story down because they didn't want America to know. But as he's introducing this out, and if you can go to The Blaze and find this video and watch it, at about the 2-minute mark, and there's a tweet on my Twitter where I tell people to do this. You could go to my Twitter and find this pretty easily. At the 2-minute mark of this video, he is standing there talking about it, and they've got one of those backdrop things that sort of has little phrases, like 5-6 words to go along with what he's saying to help drive his point home. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And he's listening to things about, played violent video games, trained on violent video games, blah, 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 and it's going through those. And then very quickly, it's only there for half a second, it says, went to gun ranges with mother. And then it disappears just instantly. It's like, oh, that little detail isn't really that important. That's less important. But we wanted to make sure we put it in there, because if we didn't, we could very easily be accused of not telling the whole story.
Was he the one who liked Dynasty Warriors?
Yes.
Yes.
Wow.
The Sandy Hook guy. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh no, was it? Oh no. It was.
So many massacres. Sadly, it's hard to keep
track.
track.
That is.
Yet youth violence is down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Overall.
Well, I mean, the thing is youth violence don't get you on the TV.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we're just getting a laser focus for our anger, and maybe we can find a way to make that productive. We just have to single out who the killers are and then get them to become, landscape artists.
Let them be the next Glenn Beck, then they get all the attention they need to stop them shooting up a school, and it's probably what he does.
It's all about the amygdala, guys. The
amygdala. We should wrap up.
Oh, but someone wants to know. R2 Talks to You wants to know, has anyone on Podtoid seen My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic? Or are you guys intentionally avoiding the topic, like the Black Plague? Then 3 question marks.
It's not a topic of interest to me. I watched...
It's really interesting.
I'm going to assume that question wasn't that we were avoiding it like it were the Black Plague. He's also angry that we've been avoiding the topic of the Black Plague.
I'm against it.
So,
I just want to go on record and say I am against it.
Well, that's unfortunate. For next week shall be the Black Plague special of Podtoid.
I've watched one episode of Friendship is Magic, and I think that it's a perfectly charming program aimed at children, which has some cross-generational appeal that I have no interest in watching.
Yeah, I don't understand when people wear a Budweiser Light t-shirt I'm like, you like Budweiser Light? That's good. But to like wear a hat and shirt and jeans and be like, Budweiser Light forever, guys. What the fuck? That I'm always like, it's not that good. It's not bad though. It's a fine beer. I feel that way about a lot of stuff, which is hypocritical because I'll wear an Adventure Time T-shirt, and a lot of people would say, Adventure Time, it's okay. Not worth getting excited about though. But in My Little Pony is one of those things that I don't see why anyone would have really strong feelings about it. Either way, that's my perspective. It's fine, and I bet you feel that way, Jim. Nah.
I have not seen it. I actually rarely have time to watch any kind of TV that I could watch without other people in the house. Not because I'd wank over it, Jonathan, but just because. Because when the family's in, we watch something, family stuff. I'd watch My Little Pony out of sheer curiosity. And I don't really have much time to watch things out of sheer curiosity
Sure.
at the moment. I've been meaning to give it a chance. I've been meaning to take a look just to see what all the kind of appeal is. But power to the people that do love the show.
Sure. And
Whatever.
I don't get people who. I'm on a big anti-classism kick right now. So looking down on people for the stuff they like is always sucky. So don't
Oh
make
yeah,
fun.
definitely. Yeah.
It happens though, and it's almost always people that in turn have been mocked for the stuff they like. They, instead of identifying with other people who have been made fun of, they identify with the people who've made fun of them and think, oh, this is the way to feel like I'm the best, is just
Now,
being a jerk to other people. That's sad.
one thing I would say about the only concern I would have, and like people to keep in mind, is that you are not, as the bronies, the target audience of My Little Pony Friendship is Magic. They are thrilled that you love it.
Mm,
But Hasbro's not necessarily making it with the intent of selling toys to you.
that's right. Which is probably why they shut that fighting game
Right.
down.
Yes,
That's
they
not
are a
what they wanted.
family brand. They have big concerns over, the property and so forth. And I'm sure that they love getting the money from bronies, but at the same time are sort of like, oh, I don't know if we want so much attention shown on this aspect of our fandom. Because sometimes they can get a little weird.
Yeah, they yeah. Well, anyway.
And that can happen for any group. Lord knows.
Oh, sure.
Lord knows I've done some unfortunate things.
We all have, I think, at this point.
Yeah.
So much shame.
I once sucked off a
Dirty.
chicken.
I was that chicken.
Yeah, and for some reason, Doctor Who fans love it. They want you to suck off your colleague as a chicken.
It's something to do with TARDISes and wibbly wobbly. I don't know. All I know is that I was young and I really needed the money.
Yeah. Who knows what those kids are like with their wacky Doctor Who? Haha, the youth. What are we talking about?
I was enjoying the pause afterwards. There's a tension in those pauses, It's great.
Oh,
I guess we should wrap up. That was the two questions.
Okay.
They've been questioned.
We're
So-
over 2 hours
We are.
Yeah.
at this point.
As
Yeah.
usual.
Jesus.
Yeah, there's stuff that people
Yeah.
will be mad
And
at
we
me
talked a
that I
lot
didn't
about
do.
video games. What
did.
happened there?
That was
Video
awful.
games. There was no Willem Dafoe pitches. There was an excellent idea by Jim, but other than that, it was all video games. Great job, guys.
We did a lot of
I
good
feel
work,
awful.
but the time has come to admit that it is time to go.
It is.
Yeah.
So we talk about the things we doing.
Yeah, Jonathan, what are you doing?
Well, I'm gonna write the rerun post for last Sunday's Sub Holmes. Finally, hopefully
Yay.
tonight. Yes. Sorry, it's been late. It's been a rough week. Fun week, but rough. We had guys from Pixel Jam on, Rich and Miles, and they were talkative, strange, fun men that were so open about the things they don't like about themselves and their video game design process. They're like, oh, we have so many ideas, and we say we're going to make them in a week, and then 3 months later, and it's not done, and what's wrong with us? But they make so many great games, more than I could ever make, that's for sure. And they continue to do well. They made Retro Robo Unicorn Attack and Cream Wolf, a game where you play as a wolf who drives an ice cream truck to lure children and kill them.
I
They made
love
all
that
these.
game.
they might make a sequel. They made that along with the guy who made Nidhogg and Cowboyana, I believe. But then they've got their own games like Potato Man Seeks the Truth and Gamma Brothers and a whole bunch of stuff they're working on. Glorkbot, Mini Adventure, so many games. What fun, guys! Get to know them. Watch this episode. Should be up. I'll post it on Dtoid hopefully for tomorrow. I'll write the post tonight. It's already on iTunes if you want to listen to it, and it should be on Dtoid TV too. Is that right, Conrad?
It is.
Oh, very good. Not surprised to hear it. This Sunday we're gonna have Austin Ivansmith, who directed Mighty Switch Force HD and a bunch of other games. He works at WayForward currently. He's told me over Twitter today that Mighty Switch Force is going on sale again this Sunday to celebrate that he's going to be on Sup Holmes on the Wii U.
That's absurd.
He might be telling the truth. WayForward. We had 3 of WayForward members on the show, and I liked having them on, but I didn't feel like I treated them much better than other guests or something. But they are like, they just love us now. They are so, I don't know. They love Dtoid and Sup Holmes.
WayForward are some great guys.
They do.
Yeah.
They do. And I'm very appreciative of their love. But they love us enough that they might put their game on sale just to get people to watch Sup Holmes. I have no idea. He might have been joking, though, so I'll look into that. That'll be this Sunday. I'm really looking forward to get to know him live on Twitch TV and on Destructoid's front page. 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Does it sound like I'm reading from a script? Because this is all just me closing my eyes and trying to remember things.
Wait, your eyes are closed?
Yeah, I'm really trying to remember the words that I should say.
Okay, quick unzip, Jim.
You rascal. Also this Sunday, a new episode of Teenage Pokemon will premiere. I believe it's going to be called Mewtwo Girls, but I'm not 100%.
Oh. Oh.
What?
Hang on.
Bad?
Hang on.
Yeah.
U2 girls, 1 cup.
No. That's yucky. No. Mewtwo, like YouTube, except
Yeah.
Mewtwo combined. No, there will be no poops in my videos. I hope. Well, who knows, actually. The gym episode's going to have something weird in it. So that'll be on this Sunday. Please watch it, and if you like it, make people like it by saying you like it. The new episode, the one I mentioned before, Console Wars, people who just like me as a person and follow me on Twitter were nice enough to watch it when it first came out, and they all pressed the like button like right away. And I have to wonder if that helped just create a culture around that, because this one has way more likes than the last one and just way more views. It's getting, I figure the second episode would be less popular, but so far it's more popular and getting watched more quickly. So that's exciting. So help me with that if you want to. When the new episode comes out on Sunday, and watch the old ones if you haven't seen them. If these episodes, I think Machinima wants them each to get between 600,000 and 1 million views total, and then they'll definitely think it's a profit deal. So they have to get so many views. Oh no, they're paying us, but not really a lot. Not compared to what most animators get. Like trying to get animators to do the show, it's almost like charity work. Because they could be getting paid so much more for their work. They're just doing it for the love of it. So help us out if you want the show to exist, much like the ad block thing. And if you don't, if you think the show sucks, you should probably still watch it, though. Because it's pretty good.
I appreciate the people that take the time to comment every single week on Office Chat about how much they don't like the show.
Yeah.
Like, it just, I'm grateful for them.
They watched it. They
because
enjoyed
they did
hating it.
watch it.
Yep,
Yes.
and if I can make a show that people feel good with hate, after watching it and say, I am so much better than that stupid show you made. I can't wait to watch it again next week and also feel like it sucks compared to me.
They are
More
watching
power
it
to you.
consistently. I'm doing something right,
I
right?
made you happy.
It was the
That's
same
Yeah.
thing happened with the Jimquisition when it first started. Every week, someone would make a comment on Facebook. So publicizing it on Facebook, as well as watching it, just with the same copy-pasted message every week. Guys, the only way the Escapist will know that they should take this down is if we tell them how much it sucks. Everybody do it. And every week. They don't
he
do it
helped you out a
anymore.
lot. Yeah. Well, now, yeah, he
Yeah.
gave up, hopefully. So yeah, if you hate Teenage Pokemon, definitely watch it. That'll help me to stop making it, maybe. Anyway, enough about Teenage Pokemon. I could talk about it all day. It's all I think about these days. Jim, what are you doing? No, Conrad, what are you doing?
Well, speaking of Office Chat, we had an Office Chat go up late last night. That was recorded before the Sony PS4 announcement. So, which I thought, hey, maybe everyone's sick of talking about this already. We can go talk about old shit. But Jim was on that one, and we talked about the Crisis 3 like Uber machine that he's running, and we talked a little more about aliens, even though we didn't want to, and then the practical joke the universe played on me in regards to DC Universe Online, which is kind of funny. So that's up there on Dtoid's YouTube, and I did a video showing how to rescue civilians in Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance, which I also reviewed this week. So the review's up there. You can go read that if you haven't already. And then you can watch this video. It might be the start of a thing. I think it's the start of a thing.
I
People
hope
seem
so.
to like it.
They
There's
love
Not
it.
just the start of a thing, the start of Conrad's little thing.
Ooh, yeah. I just
Well,
figure, my perspective on it is if you get the dick joke out of the way right off the bat, you can elevate the conversation from there. But you have set the standard. You'd say, hey, this is where we're at. We're at dick joke.
It is good to set the bar low and see where you can climb from
Keep
there.
your spirits high and your standards low. That's what I always say.
Absolutely.
So yeah, you can go and check out what will probably be the start of Conrad's little thing. That's over on YouTube, and I think that's pretty much it for me. Other than reminding again, go watch Sub Homes this weekend. This is our 50th episode.
Wow.
This coming Sunday. Yeah, it's
And
crazy.
we missed a few weeks, so we've been doing it more than a year then.
Yeah, by about 2 weeks. Yeah.
Oh, great job, Conrad. You did
Yeah.
it.
Good for us.
I should probably get a good-looking person to host it, then people would watch it.
No, what you should do is get a T-shirt figured out so that we
Don't
can
talk to me
fulfill
about
its
that.
promise.
Oh, I've submitted so many T-shirt designs to Hamza, and he's like,
Really?
don't like it.
Yeah.
It's Hamza.
Yeah. Anyway, that's it for me. What about you, Jim?
Okay, Crisis 3, reviewed that on Destructoid.com. You can check that out. I liked it. It's very much a third game type of thing, but it's still good. What else? I've also got an editorial up called PlayStation 4 I'm Interested But Not Excited, just talking about my general positive feelings towards the PS4, but tempered with a lot of kind of healthy skepticism. Also, do check out my Aliens Colonial Marines coverage on Destructoid, as I'm sure many people have noticed, some positively, some not so positively. I've put a lot of effort into the coverage of that. A lot of people are sending me stuff, a lot of information coming in. It's an interesting story if you care, so do check out that kind of stuff. And over on the Escapist magazine, escapistmagazine.com, the Jimquisition this week was called Previewed, Pre-Ordered, Pre-Screwed, which is about all about pre-release hype and getting gamers to invest in products before they have them, and even buying DLC now before the DLC even exists. Or at least has been shown, and just what a ridiculous practice that is. Also, if you didn't watch it, I have a new movie review show on The Escapist called Movie Defense Force. Last Thursday's one was Freddy vs. Jason, my review of that. And that's about it. All that remains to be said is thank you all for listening, as usual, against any decent advice, and we will see you next week.
Good hosting.
I'm the hostess with the me doing words.